we've seen DP allies axed from key committees, and those scrambling for the spoils are, members of ODM as well as KANU and other affiliates, including Wiper. Now, DP Ruto allies have been relegated to less lucrative committees in the new changes. Now, today, the MPs are electing chairpersons of various House departmental committees following the de-whipping of DP William Ruto allies. Now, the special seating approved the new list, with the DP's allies relegated to less lucrative committees. Now, for instance, the seven committees are the ones that are scheduled to hold elections today are the Agriculture and Livestock, Education, Justice and Legal Affairs, Labor and Social Welfare, Trade and Industry, Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library, and the delegated legislations. Now, Homa Bay Woman Representative Gladys Wanga is poised to chair the Finance and Planning Committee, while her Busia counterpart Florence Mutua is seeking to be the next Education Committee head, with Nyeri Town MP Ngunjiri Wambogo as her deputy. Now, that is what will be happening today as these elections take place.
Similar story on the Standard, which is again was what on the front page of the same paper. Speaking of those 5 important committees that you've just mentioned there, Ray, but the caption just reading: Purge, Uhuru and Raila tighten grip on committees in renewed BBI push, where it says the president and the ODM leader Raila Odinga have now tightened the grip on 5 parliamentary committees crucial for constitutional reforms and approval of cabinet appointments. The 2 party leaders packed the committees with their loyalists, completing a purge that saw allies of DP Ruto moved to less influential ones. So these committees are going to be held by the loyalists of the president as well as of the ODM leader, that is Raila Odinga, where it just says that loyalists now take charge of 5 key slots, putting them in an advantage position to push through constitutional changes.
Now, to put the sounds and pictures of that, what happened yesterday, given that all the National Assembly's committees whose composition is still incomplete have until tomorrow to fill these vacant positions. That is according to House Speaker Justin Muturi, who ordered 22 committees whose membership was affected by a recent purge instituted by the ruling party and its affiliates to conduct the required elections. Just as I mentioned, 7 committees are going to be holding their respective elections today. Now, it is, however, expected that no major challenge will arise in filling those vacant positions. That is after the majority and minority sides agreed on how to share the spoils. Gladys Mungai has more details on that.
Parliament appears to have moved to tighten loose ends amid fears of possible exposure of members to the deadly coronavirus. While noting that there has been increase in cases of COVID-19 among legislators, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi ordered that the House committees must abandon physical meetings and instead embrace virtual meetings with an approval from his office.
I hereby further direct that all committee sittings are suspended until Tuesday, July 28, 2020. Thereafter, committees will only operate virtually as per my guidance above.
According to the Speaker, the lawmakers must protect themselves even as they endeavor to help the country fight COVID-19.
Members of Parliament and staff are encouraged to undergo voluntary testing and self-isolate in case they come into contact with a positive case or a suspected positive case in accordance with the Ministry of Health guidelines.
His directive coming amid an ultimatum for all committee whose membership is not complete to have the vacant position filled by close of business this week.
Facilitate the elections to be held tomorrow, Thursday, July 16, 2020, and others to be held on Friday, July 17, 2020. The clerk has made necessary arrangements and has circulated a schedule showing the date and respective times appointed for election of chairpersons or vice chairpersons of the 22 committees.
The position in questions are those previously occupied by MPs, thought to be allies of William Ruto, who are purged by both the ruling party and the leading opposition outfit ODM of alleged failure to toe the party lines. In the elections slated for Thursday and Friday, the Orange Democratic Movement is said to have settled on Homa Bay woman Rep. Gladys Wanga to chair the Finance and Planning Committee, while her Busia counterpart Florence Mutua will chair Education Committee. The Raila Odinga-led party is said to have settled on Rarieda Member of Parliament Otiende Amolo as the new vice chairperson of the Powerful Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, while his Homa Bay town counterpart Peter Kaluma will serve as the vice chairperson of the Constitutional Implementation Oversight Committee. According to the Speaker, the two-day election will pave way for fumigation of Parliament to reduce risks posed by COVID-19. For Channel 1 News, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Away from matters politics, we now come to matters COVID-19, seeing how it's continuously affecting us as a country. Coronavirus is killing diabetic, blood pressure patients and more. Just saying that the COVID is killing the diabetes and hypertension patients more than any other people with underlying medical conditions. And so majority of the people who have succumbed to COVID-19 have either diabetes or hypertension. And now, while the Ministry of Health had not published data relating to the deaths from COVID-19 to underlying conditions, the number of patients who have died and had diabetes and hypertension are high. So this is what they're just saying, that for those that are dying of COVID-19, a significant number of them have underlying conditions, and this is diabetes and blood pressure. Now, still keeping up with the COVID-19, KNH yet to lower costs of testing for virus to 1,000, where you will now have to part with 5,000 Kenya shillings for a walk-in COVID-19 test at Kenyatta National Hospital. And this is despite the health CS, Mutai Kagwe, clarifying during his daily brief, that was on Monday, that the government facilities will be charging 1,000 shillings. But now it just looks like, from what he clarified, that is not what is happening on ground, because it looks like you'll have to part way with paying 5,000 Kenyan shillings. And just the last story of COVID-19, 3 staff die of virus as varsity issues reopening advisory. And these are the 3 staffs of University of Nairobi who have died of COVID-19. So the VC says that in as much as they were working from home and doing everything from home, it is unfortunate to lose the three who have died of COVID-19, and the 2 others tested positive as the cases of virus increased in the country. So it just says that 3 staffs have died of COVID-19 and 2 others have tested positive in as much as they were working from home. And this is at that time when they're really anticipating to open universities, when some of the staffs are actually dying of this virus.
Now, still keeping up with matters COVID and focusing on the county as devolved units. Remember, there's been a challenge here and there in county preparedness in light of COVID-19. Now, the Council of Governors Chairman Wycliffe Oparanya wants the 20 billion equalization fund domiciled at the National Treasury to be used to cushion poor counties that will lose out on the proposed revenue sharing, which favors densely populated regions. Now is that the proposed revenue sharing formula has caused a big division in the Senate, throwing counties deeper into a financial crisis. Now, senators from the sparsely populated northern Kenya have rejected the proposal. Further, 3 senators, Johnson Sakaja of Nairobi, Boniface Kabaka Machakos, and Samungeri Kisii, have opposed the formula, even though their counties stand to gain more money in that proposed revenue sharing formula. Remember, 316 billion is up for grabs, or rather is to be shared among the 47 counties, and that formula has already been pegged, or as said, that it favors those densely populated devolved units. Now, still keeping up with counties, and now but more focused on issues of how prepared or not these counties are in regard to COVID-19. is that the Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa is challenging county governments that are yet to set up the 300 bed capacity directive in readiness of admission of COVID-19 patients to expedite the process in the wake of surging positive cases. Now, Wamalwa says the national government has already extended requisite financial support to help the devolved units to address the emerging challenges. This coming at a time when the Council of Governors is also warning that counties may be forced to adopt lockdown measures based on individual COVID burden. Now, the Council's chair, Wycliffe Oparanya, says the current trend in new infections points at testing times ahead for county administrations, even as he called on the national government to extend its support. A report prepared by our Kisumu-based reporter Simon Achola puts all that into perspective.
We have worked very closely with
With the lifting of partial lockdown that had been slapped on sections of the country, fears remain rife that the spread of COVID-19 disease might soon overwhelm county administrations. Council of Governors Chair Wycliffe Oparanya is now warning that individual counties may be forced into lockdown to avert inter-county transmission of coronavirus if the current trend in confirmed cases continue.
In the event that the situation gets dire, individual county government will have no choice but in consultation with the President seek to lock down the affected county to contain the rapid spread and protect lives.
We know our brothers and sisters from various towns are returning home because of the economic problems they have faced in the towns where they have been because of loss of the livelihoods. We want, as they come back, let us be careful on how we interact with them.
Speaking in Vihiga County during the council's weekly briefing, Oparanya said with the opening of the country, the threat posed by the pandemic remains grave, even as he warned Kenyans to strictly adhere to containment measures as set out by the Ministry of Health to ensure the situation does not get out of hand.
It will be unfortunate for Kenyans to perish for lack of information. Hence, there is need for concerted effort to create awareness, as this is a war which we have to fight together for the sake of our country, Kenya.
As the committee in charge of COVID-19 response committee, we have resolved that we are going to ensure that all the regulations and guidelines are enforced where people refuse to practice or adhere to them.
Testing for the virus remains a key challenge, and the governor is calling on the national government to ensure more testing centers are gazetted at the county level to ensure more people are tested and the true scale of the virus infection at the county level is known. Achola Simon, reporting for Channel 1 News from Vihiga County.
Artisans get state orders for 500 beds. These are two young innovators behind locally manufactured hospital beds have a reason to smile, and this is after the government placed an order of 500 units from these two artisans. They will now supply beds to public hospitals currently under pressure with increased admissions of COVID-19 cases. So these two artisans are Mungai Gathongo, their images are also pictured in there, Mungai Gathongo, who's 26 years old, and Joseph Muhinja, 35. They are based in Githunguri, that is in Kiambu County, and used locally available materials to make standard hospital beds. They have 45 days to deliver the 500 pieces, and this is following the president's intervention and directive. So far, they have sold one bed to a home care client and employed 7 people. Their beds their beds go for 65,000 each, and this is compared to 85,000 for the cheapest available import. So the cheapest available import for these hospital beds goes for about 85,000, but their own locally manufactured goes for 65,000, and they now have 45 days to deliver the 500 pieces as it was directed by the president.
Now, still talking about innovation, that particular story has captured the eye of the Star this morning, and you can see that particular pic of that particular Kenyan-made bed of ICU over there. As you can see there, that's just a demonstration as to what has been already shown there, rather presented. Young innovators landed 32.5 million COVID bed bonanza. Now, just as my colleague has highlighted for you, is that Kenyans are getting innovative during this time. Remember, Uhuru Kenyatta's order will make the innovative duo 32.5 million rich, with each bed to be bought at 65K. So if you have that particular idea that you think can plug the current debt, or rather deficit that has been highlighted by COVID-19, then this is an opportunity for you to just put your skill into practice. Yesterday, we had a young innovator at the age of 30 who has made the first Kenyan-made thermal gun. It's called an IoT, Mbetsa, and the Trade and Ministry of Industry said that they're going to, Trade and Industry Department said that they're going to be supporting him, and instead of importing thermal guns that fetch around 22,000 from the international market, they are willing to buy his at 5,000 shillings. Well, just to put this into perspective, our reporter Safin Achieng spent a day with this particular innovator and captures the following story.
When Eric Mungai Gadhogo, Joseph Muhinja, and Paul Wangaruro from Githunguri sub-county of Kiambu County embarked on an exercise to construct high-dependency unit beds from locally available materials to support the country's fight against the spread of coronavirus, little did they know that their invention will attract so much attention. A picture of their manufacturing prowess posted on social media has been the talk of the nation, and its spread appears to have reached State House after President Uhuru Kenyatta dispatched the President's delivery unit to Githunguri to have a look at the medical infrastructure and confirm their viability.
Yes.
Impressed by the innovation, the team led by PDU Secretary Andrew Wakahiu made an order of 500 such beds, which will be used by the national government to boost bed capacity in public hospitals, which are currently under pressure from the COVID-19 related admissions.
We have a shortage of about 15 or 20,000 beds in the country that are needed very urgently. So we will carry that one bed. We will take it to Kenya Bureau of Standards. But in the meantime, we will immediately give you an order of 500 beds.
Wakahiu said that the beds will be subjected to the Kenya Bureau of Standards protocols on their suitability for hospital use. The young innovators have a month and a half to deliver the beds, as the government ropes in a team of expert engineers to help the budding entrepreneurs with equipment and to hasten the production.
I will ensure that as directed by His Excellency the President, you will have access to all the facilities of government. We will get this standardized by the Kenya Bureau of Standards within the shortest time possible. We will get you access through the SME fund for the requisite capital that you may be requiring to do this project. And we will continue ensuring that you and many other youth in this country who are continuing to do this kind of thing shall continue to have constant market from hospitals that are financed through the taxpayer.
Area Member of Parliament Gabriel Kago also pledged to ensure that the innovators get the much-needed support for their venture.
We do not need to have our youths employed. You can provide employment for our people. Any support you need, I myself as the Member of Parliament, I'm going to provide.
The boost was highly welcomed by the brilliant minds behind the innovation, even as they challenged young people to follow suit.
What I want to tell the young people of this country is that the greatest asset you have is that idea. Once you have that idea, go for it. You will get supporters on the way, like the government of Kenya has done today, and we are going to move this country forward.
This coming as the government remains keen on promoting local innovators and manufacturers in line with the manufacturing pillar of the Big Four agenda. For Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Acheng Oma.
Slightly away from matters innovations when it comes to COVID-19, let's shift gears to the courts, scales of justice. Tests on woman in hospital rape saga go for third analysis, and now detectives have sent 3 tests of samples collected from a 50-year-old woman who claims she was raped at Nairobi Hospital to the government chemist. Now, this followed contradictory results from 2 separate hospitals on samples collected from this woman. According to investigators, tests from the hospital where the woman claims she was raped turned negative, and while the other one from Nairobi Women's Hospital shows that she was actually raped, so that one turned positive. Now, the forensic experts at the government chemist will now compare samples from the hospitals and the one provided by the victim to arrive at an outcome. We hope justice is going to be found for this lady. This is the 50-year-old lady who claims that she was raped at Nairobi Hospital. Still keeping up with the matters justice, COB now directs Waiguru to comply with budget law. And this is the controller of budget said draft estimates from the county did not adopt a program-based framework as required by the law. So the COB, that is Nyakango, has now directed the governor to adhere to the law in the 2020-2021 fiscal estimates. Now, Waiguru also suffered another blow yesterday, and this is after the county assembly rejected her memo on the budget estimates, seeking to alter the projections. In a letter to the governor, Ms. Nyakango highlighted 8 issues the county government needed to clarify, and this is before close of business yesterday, so that they may be allowed to draw funds from the county coffers. So the governor is expected to highlight at least 8 issues that the county government needs to clarify before they can be able to get funds. Remember that still on Corridors of Justice, that story of the Keroche heiress, that is Tekra Muigai. Now, the heiress lover is slated to undergo mental test, where the lover of the late Keroche heiress, Tekra Muigai, has been committed to a psychiatric doctor to evaluate whether he is fit to stand trial for murder. That is Omar Lali. We have his image also there will be attended to by a doctor at Garissa Provincial Hospital, pending his appearance before the Garsen High Court. Yesterday, when you look at looking at this story, they were saying that they have enough evidence to convict the man, but now he's just expected to go for trials, that is psychiatric trials, before he can be taken to court.
Still keeping up with the stories making headlines from the Corridors of Justice is that police in Willie Kimani murder apply for fresh bail and fear COVID. Now, through their lawyers, Cliff Ombeta and Kato Keegan, they asked for a date when the application would be heard. Justice Jessica it hard that the application was filed in March, and due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they could not be heard sooner. Now, the victims' lawyers and LSK, who are interested party in the case, say they had never heard of the bail application. Remember, the allegations are that the death of Willie Kimani, Josephat Mwenda, and Joseph Mwirori was caused by allegations which are untrue. That is what Cheburet claims. The corporal says he served in a force for 31 years, and in those years he has never faced any criminal charges, except this one before. So this, to remember the lawyer Willie Kimani murder, made a lot of headlines when it first came, rather than was notified. So there it is, police in Willie Kimani murder apply for fresh bail and fear COVID. Now, Blois Waiguru wanted by EACC over tender issues. She is set to appear before a watchdog next Wednesday. Now, sources said that the EACC intends to scrutinize all the controversial procurement that have dogged Kirinyaga County. Captured there is that it's no longer a walk in the park for embattled Governor Anne Waiguru. Now, the EACC wants to probe or rather scrutinize all tenders that have dogged the Kirinyaga County. Still keeping up with matters justice is that now the EACC also is in court to reclaim Mombasa railway railway land. Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is seeking to recover a prime piece of land in Mombasa that it says belongs to the Kenya Railways Corporation, and the land was allegedly grabbed by a private developer. Now, the anti-graft further argued that in its investigations, it did not disclose any factual or legal basis upon which the land was alienated in favor of Kizingo Apartments Limited and subsequently to Kizingo Condominiums Limited. Now, that is one of the issues that the anti-graft body is following up in Mombasa. Further on in Moranga, Del Monte land saga. U.S. promises a $3 billion hospital in Moranga. Americans are dangling the carrot for Moranga residents in a bid to have them renew the land lease. Details is that the U.S. government is offering a $3 billion level 6 teaching and referral hospital for Moranga County as it raises stakes in the ongoing talks to renew land lease for the American Thika-based food processor Del Monte. Now, Moranga Senator Irongo Kangata said the hospital will be built on land that the company has agreed to cede in the negotiations that are at advanced stage. Now, the company owns 22,000 acres, about 900 hectares, and the Kandara Residents Association, chaired by Mr. Philip Kamau, want between 5,000 and 8,000 acres of that particular land to go back to public use. The association is proposing that yesterday, or rather he revealed, that is Mr. Philip Kamau, that the association has entered into a 130 billion partnership agreement with Fourways and Tattoo City Investment to build an industrial park, low-cost housing units, and a light industries zone on the ceded land. What will it be? How will the Moranga residents go and accept the American deal or to renew that lease? Remember, back in history, these particular lands were, the leases were for 99 years, especially after the colonial period there. So it lapsed and the negotiations are ongoing. Whichever way the Moranga people decide to go, we'll be there to keep you updated. Now, how about we also just take a closer look at other stories that made headlines from the corridors of justice, where Busia Governor Sospita Ojamong has denied 4 charges relating to graft and abuse of office. Ojamong is among 8 persons facing 4 counts of ranging from conspiracy to commit an offense of economic crimes to conspiracy to defraud the Busia County government of 8 million shillings. Our reporter, Serafina Robi, puts that into perspective.
Appearing before the Anti-Corruption Court in Nairobi, Busia Governor Sospita Ojamong will deny 4 counts of graft-related charges. Ojamong is charged alongside Bernard Diete, Leonard Obimbira, Allen Omachari, Samuel Oseko, Edna Odoyo, Renish Acheng, Sebastian Hallinsbin, and Madama Enterprises. They are accused of conspiracy to commit an offense of economic crime, engaging in a project without prior planning, abuse of office, and conspiracy to defraud the Busia County government of 8 million shillings.
According to our initial plan for solid waste management, we are earmarked a total of 205 million.
Meanwhile, the Employment and Labor Relations Court has barred 5 persons appointed to the Business Premises Tribunal from transacting any business until a petition challenging the appointment is heard and determined. According to the petitioners Bernard Odero and Advocate Ian Madenge, the appointment failed to follow requisite procedures.
That means that the BPLT is not in operation as we speak. because they were appointed unconstitutionally. The minister cannot appoint people at whims, and that is what the court is agreeing with us.
That decision is going to be a president-setting decision because it will inform how cabinet secretaries will be making appointments from now henceforth.
The case will be mentioned on the 28th of July. Finally, the High Court has adjourned the case involving the murder of lawyer Willie Kimani, citing lack of a suitable court to accommodate all parties. The case involves 4 persons who are charged with the murder of the human rights lawyer, his client Josephat Mwendo, and driver Joseph Mwiruri. Well, the hearing was adjourned to Monday next week to allow the judiciary procure a bigger tent that will accommodate everyone. Reporting for Skills of Justice, Channel 1 News, I'm Sarafina Robbie.
And away from that, let's look at something a bit different, matters human interest, even as we delve deeper into the counties. Nairobi's thirsty slums enjoy free water for the first time. That is the caption we are having there. And at Kamukunji grounds in Kibra, just behind Olympic Primary School, as you cross the disused railway into Kisumu Ndogo, this is just images of residents of those of that particular area where they are set to at least enjoy free water, and this is for the first time. This is after tankers are competing to deliver the most precious yet rare commodity in poor households. Boreholes are being sunk overnight, all in the name of COVID-19. So this is what is happening in this specific area in Nairobi County, that is in Kibra. Remember that the issue of water has been something that we've been grappling with, especially here in Nairobi, and given the fact that we have COVID-19 and we're being advised to constantly at least wash our hands. So for those residents there in that particular estate, they get to enjoy free water for the first time. This is in Nairobi County in Kibra Estate. Now, speaking of counties, coming to Nakuru County, hospital births rise with reduced curfew hours, where the number of pregnant women seeking hospital deliveries in Nakuru has increased after reduction of curfew time by 3 hours. Among facilities where services have picked up is the Margaret Kenyatta Mother Baby Wing at the Rift Valley Province General Hospital. So now, initially, medical records indicated a decrease of deliveries by 25%. The situation has now changed since June 6th, when the dusk to dawn curfew hours were increased. This is between 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. to now 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. This story just telling us of how hospital births have now risen in that specific county, that is in Nakuru County. Again, also an interesting story, again, still keeping up with the counties. This is in Nyandarua County. On the sidebar of the paper, we just have a story there. Landlord extends rent waiver, and this is a Nyandarua landlord has again stunned his tenants after he extended the rent waiver for another 1 month for the last 3 months. Now, the tenants have not been paying rent. So Dr. Daniel Munene, who owns rental houses in Jeru Trading Center, said the move was to help them cope with the negative effects of COVID-19. This is again the story of that landlord, who was actually the first landlord to extend, to waiver rent for his tenants, and now he has extended that waiver again, just saying that it is important at least for the tenants there to cope with COVID-19. That is what is happening in Nyandarua County.
Into the counties, the Kenya Meteorological Department has issued an advisory warning of strong winds across parts of the country, as well as large waves over the Indian Ocean between today and Sunday. Now, in the advisory, the weatherman says strong winds blow more at 15.4 meters per second are expected over the coastal and eastern sector of the country for the next period. This is Caroline Kamau with that report from the Meteorological Department.
The country has in recent years been experiencing erratic weather patterns, a state of affairs blamed on global warming. And as Kenyans grapple with the cold season amid the coronavirus pandemic, the Kenya Meteorological Department is warning of strong winds across parts of the country. Affected counties include Marsabit, Turkana, Samburu, Mandera, Wajir, Isiolo, Garissa, Kitui, Makueni, Taita Taveta, Tana River, Lamu, Kilifi, Mombasa and Kwale. Residents in affected areas are advised to be on the lookout for very strong winds and very large waves over the Indian Ocean. The wind speed is expected to strengthen on Friday at 3 a.m. and is likely to reduce to 30 knots on Saturday. The advisory says the wave height is likely to be more than 3 meters over the Kenya coastal waters on Friday and is expected to reduce to 2.5 meters on Sunday. The weatherman warning that the strong winds may blow off roofs, uproot trees and cause structural damages, while the high waves may lower visibility, cause capsizing of boats and threaten the safety of those engaging in water sports and recreational activities. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1 News.
Those ladies who like wearing those circular dresses, well, not today, till Monday. Let's think about those dresses on Monday, lest you get into an embarrassing situation. Now, focusing on stories that are making headlines in the counties is that a family in Kajiado is in agony over a missing body of a son who recently drowned at a dam in Kisarian. Now, the 15-year-old boy Form 1 student died after drowning on Sunday at the water body that has recently claimed a number of locals. The family members and villagers pitched camp around the dam with the hope that his body will surface soon. Now, details of this and other stories from the counties.
The distress engulfing this family in Kisering is striking. The 15-year-old son drowned in this dam 4 days ago, and his remains are yet to be located despite widespread searches since the day of the tragedy. It is believed that the teenage boy was swimming alongside his peers before he was submerged in waters never to be seen again.
Vijana na nyinyi na waambia ya kwamba tusishindane na maji. You can't win kwa sababu this dam is very deep. Na huwezi kuvuka from the other side. Many times utashindwa ukiwa katikati na pengine utazima.
In the meantime, a matatu driver perished in an accident along the Mutarakwa-Mai-Mahiu road that left 11 others nursing serious injuries, according to eyewitnesses. The accident involving a matatu in lorry occurred when the driver of the passenger vehicle lost control of the van before ramming into a stationary truck. Residents claim that the area has become a black spot owing to numerous accidents occurring at the scene.
Tumeshuhudia ajali mingi sana katika eneo hili na sana sana hii eneo barabara ya Ndia. Waweze kutuwekea zile bump ili tuweze kupunguza gari ambazo zinasonga kwa mwendo wa kasi, tuweze kupunguza hizo speed.
Meanwhile, a section of artists from Migori are blaming their dwindling fortunes on alleged inability of the Music Copyright Society of Kenya to regulate the industry. Led by Elisha Outa alias Elisha Toto and John Okinyi alias Osigo Winyo, the artists lamented the miserable economic status most of their colleagues find themselves in, maintaining that state agencies mandated with their welfare have failed in executing the role. These claims were made as an event to plan at the burial of legendary Ohangla artist Maureen Achieng, who recently passed away.
Lakini muziki inakuliwa na watu wengi. Unaona, unapata msanii anafanya bidii, lakini bidii yake hawezi tekeleza ile ndoto zake. Juu unapata mwingine anakudanganya, anakusaidia, kumbe anakukula.
In the meantime, NCIC Chairman Dr. Reverend Samuel Kobia has confirmed that the agency has successfully mediated peace meetings in Narok for the last 1 month since the onset of community clashes in the area. The anti-hate agency further disclosed that it is narrowing down on some politicians and individuals who might be culpable of inciting communities into violence amid push for their prosecution.
At that particular meeting, it was decided that women themselves decided they are not going to Pigaduru anymore. The young people agreed that they will themselves will not pick up weapons for fighting, so peace prevails, and that peace is continuing.
Finally, Nairobi Regional Commissioner Wilson Jenga has called on traders at the busy Gikomba market to cooperate with the government as it seeks to modernize the market and make it easily accessible. While expressing sympathy with the traders who have suffered losses due to tragedies that have afflicted the famous market, Njenga warned the traders against opposing government initiatives aimed at making the marketplace conducive for all, especially through expansion of road networks leading to the market.
So it is in the interest of all the traders and the general public for the NMS to be allowed to complete the grading and improvement of these access roads for the benefit of the traders and the general public. For those who are affected, I think what we did is that there is already a market there under construction, which will accommodate many people, over 2,000, and that's under the State Department for Housing. And we are in agreement that we need to fast track the completion of that market to accommodate the many traders who do not have space.
Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
Away from the counties, let's delve deeper into KQ. Yesterday resumed domestic flights. It now looks that it's upping the ticket prices as it resumes their flights. So that is just what is there on the caption. KQ ups tickets prices as it resumes flights, where they're saying that expect to pay more for local flights after Kenya Airways increased ticket prices as the national carrier seeks to weather the COVID-19 pandemic. The airline yesterday resumed domestic flights after a prolonged absence from the skies following the outbreak of the deadly virus in the country in March. Now, the CEO, Alan Kilavuka, speaking at JKIA, said the pandemic has increased the cost of operations in terms of keeping passengers and staff safe. Still on matters business, a new mobile app to lift women, image of CS Kobia there. Now, the Sherry Blair Foundation for Women and DHL Express have launched a new mobile application to impart women with business skills in Kenya. The two entities that I just mentioned earlier unveiled Havecha, which is a virtual launch in Nairobi yesterday. It was attended by the CS of Public Service, Youth and Gender Affairs, that is Professor Margaret Kobia. Now, this mobile app will be used as an avenue to help women entrepreneurs in Kenya and globally to digitize their business and position them to thrive in the new digital world during this pandemic. So this is what these two entities are doing, at least to assist and help women to continue digitizing their businesses. That is on the online platform. Looking again at another story, again still on matters business. Treasury blamed for delay in Airtel Telcom merger wrap up, where the National Treasury is now holding back the proposed merger. This is between Telcom Kenya and Airtel Kenya as the government assesses the viability of the sale of its 40% stake in the former. Now, it has been more than a year since Telcom Kenya and Airtel Kenya announced plans to merge certain segments of their operation in a bid to create a strong competitor for Safaricom, which is the country's leading telecommunication. But now insiders are saying that the CS, Ukur Yatani, is stalling on signing off the deal as the state is now weighing the viability of selling its stake in Telcom Kenya.
Now, still keeping up stories making headlines in the business circles is that the NCBA shuts 14 branches after merger, that is COVID-19. After the COVID-19 scourge, domino effect still affecting the banking sector there. Further on is that huge price margin between diesel and kerosene raises adulteration fears. Now, unscrupulous dealers are mixing paraffin with diesel to make gains from the difference. Now, over the margin of the rise in diesel prices by the widest margin in the last decade to retail at 91 shillings and 87 cents at a litre in Nairobi has triggered fresh fears that fuel may be adulterated using kerosene. That's a 26 shillings and 42 cents, difference in between the two. Now, paraffin, which now retails at 65 shillings and 45 cents per litre, has left at 26.42. That is 26 shillings and 42 cents per litre margin between the two products, and an attraction in which unscrupulous dealers can use to make money. Now, in September, the government had introduced an 18 shillings per litre anti-adulteration levy on kerosene to discourage the practice, but the margin has since returned, doubling from last month's 13% a litre. Now, the difference is now even more wider compared to the period just before the adulteration levy was introduced. Fears there. So, in case you're using you use diesel in it, you need to just fuel in a renowned petrol station of sorts, so that you avoid, this can actually cause your engine to knock and other things therein. Now, animal attacks cover coming up is that the state is yet to clear a 5 billion bill to compensate victims of wildlife attacks. Now, a report handed over by the Nairobi, the wildlife conservation, or rather in efforts towards animal wildlife conservation, is that an insurance cover is coming up to just aid victims of animal attacks. At the same time, inflation hits Nairobi poor homes the most. This is according to the KBS rating that classifies the Nairobi lower income group as those who are spending up to 46,355 shillings per month, and this makes up about 70% of the households in Nairobi. And Nairobi middle income captures those spending between 46,356 and 184,394 per month, while the upper class spenders are those who spend 184,394 shillings. So now you can get to this report that has been released by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics to just find out, within Nairobi, do you belong to the lower income cadre, or are you in the middle class or the upper echelon of, the upper class within Nairobi, and why inflation is hitting poor homes in Nairobi the hardest. Now, a report from what is happening within the transport system, combining, KQ resuming its domestic flights yesterday, as well as just the launch of, the Human Wildlife Compensation Insurance Scheme. That was a story that I compiled yesterday, and it puts into perspective moves that the government has put in place to just support the tourism sector, and also to just ensure that we attain the objectives of wildlife conservancy. After halting operations for 99 days, flag carrier Kenya Airways has resumed local flights Wednesday amid strict measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
And for us to have been certified by the Ministry of Health, for us to have complied with international protocols, I have to give commendation to all the teams concerned. Let me thank Kenya Airways, in particular, for the special attention they've given to this country during this time of COVID-19. During this very difficult time, KQ has helped this country bring in the much required medical supplies. Some from Europe, some from China, which was critical to our survival. KQ also brought in the personal protective equipment here to make sure that our medical staff could actually be safe.
Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia flagged off flights to Mombasa and Kisumu, with 66 passengers on board headed to the lakeside city. Despite the liftoff, passengers were not offered the usual in-flight meals. Further, passengers will now be required to sanitize their hands several times, starting from the main gate up until the point of boarding the plane.
Many of Kenyans who are over there in Europe, in the US, in China, and in India cannot wait to come back. But let's make sure that these local flights are the benchmark for success because if you don't do it properly, it means that opportunity to fly international may be reversed. And so this is a test period of 2 weeks. Michael and Alan, I'm sure you not disappoint us. Civil aviation, Kenya airports, you not disappoint us. Let's do what we can to make sure we meet the expectations of our people.
Going forward, the government will keep a keen eye on the performance of the local flights to inform resumption of international flights that is earmarked for the 1st of August.
Aviation industry is very crucial to support the tourism industry. We believe it is time for Kenyans to support our own economy by traveling all over the country so that every place you go, you have a social impact to that person who wants to make a livelihood. Let's all support domestic tourism and domestic travel.
We want the government to assist us because we depend on those crops that they have eaten to educate our children, to feed them, and we have children who are depending on us.
And victims of human-wildlife conflict will be able to initiate compensation claims if proposals by the Human-Wildlife Conflict Task Force are implemented in their current form. Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala says operationalization of the Human-Wildlife Conflict Insurance Scheme will effectively tackle a huge backlog of unpaid human-wildlife conflict compensation claims. The HWC insurance compensation will set out as a pilot scheme for at least 8 months in Taita Taveta, Narok, Meru and Kajiado counties respectively. The task force further recommends adoption of mobile money payment systems for payment of smaller claim payouts. Regina Manyara reporting for Channel 1 Business.
Let's look a bit at matters sports. Athletes become hawkers as virus disruption bites, and this is a story of two athletes in Nyahururu Town. Nyahururu Town is known for producing a number of professional athletes as well as training ground for many. Its high altitude area has made it favorable for many runners who have gone and conquered the world of athletics. One of them is the famous Samuel Wanjiru. But now the most affected ones are, as of now, are the upcoming ones who had hopes of participating in various competitions to earn a living. This disruption did not even spare their coaches, and now the two who is Masharia and Muringe have now been forced to become hawkers in the town of Nyahururu because they cannot go for any kind of marathon. They were hoping to participate in international competitions, most of them in Japan, but their hopes have now been dimmed. And again, this is just due to the effects of COVID-19.
Now, Egypt and Tunisia have both expressed interest in hosting the semi-finals of this year's Africa Cup, Africa Champions League. Now, the Confederation of African Football is looking to replace Cameroon, who on Monday withdrew from hosting the matches due to the spike of coronavirus infections in the country. Details from Barclay Odendo's report. Well, that particular was just that feed that you've seen there was just a recap of matches that were played yesterday night. And I know one of our colleagues, Okinyi, is very excited after Arsenal beat Liverpool yesterday 2-1. I must admit, I didn't expect that from Arsenal. As I say, being an Arsenal fan should be included in, 1,000 ways to die. But hey, at least you proved your worth. Let's say, Arsenal, let's just say it was your turn. Now let's see if those who walk alone, who never walk alone, will be walking alone this morning. Maybe that explains the silence that we are having on social media. That brings us up to matters in the headlines this morning. In not too long, we're going to be focusing on matters of education and just getting your opinion in regard to the scrapping of the 2020, or rather put on hold the 2020 education calendar. It has been confirmed that for the next 6 months, basic education, secondary school and education is going to be put on hold. In light of COVID-19, rising cases here locally, while at the same time, tertiary institutions are set to resume in September. As a parent, are you willing to support that teacher meet his or her needs because they're staring at job losses? The statistics indicate that around 300,000 children in private schools might just end up enrolling in already crowded public institutions once the schools reopen, if private schools are not supported to remain afloat during these hard times of COVID-19. That is the discussion that is coming up in not too long, so do keep it right here.
From the Mount Kenya region to eastern, to the Rift Valley to western, and even the coast region. Smallholder farmers have a tale to tell about the household water storage project.
Sasa kabla hii damu haijashimbwa, tulikuwa na shida sana ya maji. Hata mifugo yetu hakuwa anapata maji.
Hii water pan imenisaidia sana juu ya hali ya kiangazi wakati inatupiga. Tunapigwa sana na wakati wa kiangazi.
Watch it on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
On the next episode of
Nasema, angalia huyu. Sasa ukuja kuuza nini hapa? Sio sura yako mbaya. Aisha,
sema kusha kutoka wewe. Maji na maji ya kutosha.
Sijakuja sababu ya maji. Mambo yamebadilika. Ukiangalia tekela. Tekela leo lazima nimalize mtu.
Wewe nipe pesa zangu wewe.
Tujali kazi zenu hata nilikuwa nataka wakuje. Kwa hivyo wakuje. Asante sana.
Kamau, ni wapi unataka kutupeleka?
Huko mashambani. Amejenga.
Lakini mimi sitaki kwenda huko.
Utakunywa nini?
Mimi sahi sina happy. Wacha
niende kwa soko nikuendee tu matunda.
Hapana Kamau, keti tu chini. Hapa si unikijitoa.
Naweza kukuamini kweli?
Nataka kudeal na wayune na job.
Deal na wao sasa.
Wacha mimi nirudiki hivi, acha nikufikishe tu hapa.
Sawa.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Mimi si mtoto. You know very well that was my idea and you ended up taking it. You have a lot of explaining to do.
Madam Julia.
Can you guys believe that he was hooking me up with his father?
He is not my father.
Aye.
Can we move on to a more valuable topic?
This Joanne?
Oh, Joanne. She's...
Can you not talk to me, please? Thank you. I'd hold my tongue if I were you.
What I'm trying to say is that you can give me that better. You know I can do others.
minutes past 8 a.m. Time for our fast traffic link. Let's look at what is happening around Globe Cinema roundabout. Again, one of those busy roundabouts going all the way to Muranga Road as you head over to Thika Super Highway, coming from Kipande Road, all the way from the areas of Westlands as it branches off to a number of sleep roads. This is just as you head over to the city center. The roundabout doesn't really look that bad this early morning, given the fact that it is really one of those busy roundabouts. And as I had just mentioned to you, it comes all the way from one of those busy highways, and that is Thika Super Highway, branching off to Muranga Road as you head over to the city center. What you're seeing this early morning is just traffic beginning to slightly build up. This is around Globe Cinema roundabout. So ultimately, this means is that if you are coming from Westlands through Kipande Road as you head over to the roundabout coming to the city center, this is the best time for you to do that, because when it gets to around 9-10, then it will be entirely a total different case. And that one I can assure you, because this is one of those busy roundabouts in terms of heavy traffic snarl up, especially in the early morning hours. So clearly, this is the best time for you to do that, especially if you're coming from areas such as Westlands, branching through Kipande Road as you come to the city center, because in fact, all through Kipande Road, there's no traffic at all. It's just a smooth sailing, and this is on both lanes. So this means the lane that is leaving the roundabout as you head over to Kipande Road, all the way to Ojiji Road, all the way to Parklands to Westlands, as well as you're leaving those areas that I just mentioned, coming to the city center, throughout the entire road on both lanes. Smooth sailing, nothing really much to say in terms of traffic, and that is why we are seeing that green color there, just an indicator for us that there's no traffic at all, moving at a pretty fast pace. Even around the Kenya Museum, also just no traffic at all on that specific area. Just also as you branch off from Ojiji Road, still coming to the same area that I'm just mentioning to you as you head over to the city center. Also on that specific road, no traffic at all, moving at a pretty fast pace. But just around Ojiji Road is on the lane that is heading over to Parklands. That is just where traffic begins to slightly build up. And that is why we are seeing that orange color there. This is around the Ojiji roundabout as you head over to Parklands. That is just where traffic begins to slightly build up. On the other lane, so the one leaving Parklands, coming through the roundabout, heading all the way to Kipande Road, all the way to Globe Cinema roundabout as you come to the city center. On that specific lane, no traffic at all. In fact, it is clear ways, an indicator that is just moving at a pretty fast pace again. So what this means also is that if you are coming from Parklands, this is really again the best time for you to do that, because in the next hours we'll be seeing something totally different. And also if you are leaving city center heading over to Parklands through Ojiji Road, then you may just have to do a little bit with the traffic there, because it has just begun to slightly build up. So that is what is happening on that specific area. This is just around the Ojiji roundabout as you head over to Parklands, coming all the way from Globe, using Kipande Road, heading to those areas that I just mentioned to you. Now, coming to this roundabout, which is what we're trying to focus on this morning hour, this is the Globe Cinema roundabout. I had mentioned to you that it's a roundabout that also just branches off to a number of roads, and what you were looking at earlier on was Kipande Road, which is one of those roads that branches off from this specific roundabout as you head over to Parklands. Now, before I head over to the other road, look at this. This has just changed now. This is along Kipande Road, branching off from the Globe roundabout. There was nothing at all. In fact, it was green all through, showing us that it was moving at a pretty fast pace. Nothing at all to say in terms of gridlock. But look at this. This has just changed right this very minute. And this is on the lane that is leaving Westlands as you head over to the city center using the roundabout. Traffic has begun to really just slightly build up on that specific lane. That is the lane that is leaving the road. In fact, the estates enjoin to this specific route as you head over to the city center using Globe roundabout. This is just where traffic has begun to slightly build up, and that is why earlier on I was saying that if you're coming from these specific areas, these estates, this is really the best time for you to do that, because in as much as traffic has begun to slightly build up, but at least it is quite manageable, and that is what we are seeing in when it comes to that orange color there. So again, this is just the best time for you to do that. Let's look at another road still around the Globe roundabout, and this is Muranga Road, just before you head over to Thika Super Highway. Again, actually on this specific one, Wow, before you get over to the road, look at the roundabout. Traffic now at a standstill. And this is why I keep telling you every single time is that traffic changes every minute. When we were beginning to look at the Globe roundabout, it was green all through, showing us that there was no traffic at all. But now things have entirely changed in just a couple of minutes, and we are beginning to see a bit of red, a bit of maroon on some specific areas on the roundabout, showing us that traffic is now moving at a pretty slow pace in some specific areas, and in others it is at a standstill. And that is why I'm continuing to emphasize for those that are coming from Muranga Road, from Kipande Road, even Ojiji Road, using the Globe roundabout as you head over to the city center, this is clearly the best time for you to do that, because from what you're seeing even on our map this morning is that traffic is changing every single minute, and that is what you're seeing in the difference in colors there, which is not what you were sporting earlier on when you were beginning to look at how this specific roundabout was doing in terms of traffic. So now let's come to Muranga Road. This is just as after you branch from the Globe roundabout, heading all the way to Thika Super Highway, looking at how this specific road is doing in terms of traffic. In fact, just before you get to the roundabout, this is along Muranga Road, actually on the outer lanes, traffic at a standstill. Look at the difference in colors. Looks like there's a variety of colors here. We have the green, red, maroon there, but on major parts of this road, this is just as you head over to the CBD, traffic at a standstill. And again, for the benefit of our viewers, this is why we are seeing the maroon color. This just shows us that in fact it's not moving at all. Cars just parked there. But again, also I may have to just mention to you that around this roundabout, just like many other roundabouts that we normally look at, like University Way roundabout, Kenyatta Avenue, Haile Selassie, Nyayo Stadium roundabouts, where we normally spot or traffic police are normally stationed there early, especially in this early morning hour, to try and see how best they can control traffic. The same case is also around the Globe roundabout. I can tell you for sure that traffic police are also normally here trying to see how they can control that. So if you're coming from Thika Super Highway through Muranga Road as you head over to Globe roundabout, you may have to make do this traffic actually here, because then there's no any other alternative route, and it looks like this traffic comes all the way from Desai area. This is along Thika Super Highway before you get over to Muranga Road. But on the other lane, this is after you leave the roundabout, on the other lane from Globe roundabout, branching off to Muranga Road as you head over to the estates, also on the other side of Ngara Market, going all the way to Thika Super Highway. On that specific lane, there's no traffic at all, moving at a pretty fast pace, and that is why we are seeing those colors there. But let's look at another area. This is around Ngara Road, just as you branch off from the Fig Tree Open Air Market, also in this specific area, moving at a really fast pace. This is for those that are heading over to estates such as Ngara there. So clearly moving really fast, nothing really much to say in terms of heavy traffic gridlock there. But where traffic is just building up, this is actually along Muranga Road as you head over to the Globe Cinema roundabout. Let me look at one last road before we wrap it up in terms of traffic this morning, and this is just next to Muthaiga. Actually, not next to Muthaiga, but next to Pangani. This is just where we have the Pangani intersection. Also, nothing really much to say there in terms of heavy traffic buildup along this intersection, moving at a pretty fast pace. So ultimately, also what this means is that for those that are applying Thika Super Highway and we want to use this as an alternative route, then it could really serve as a good alternative route for you. Again, also look at this, Muranga Road, again, traffic changing there. At least it's beginning to open up. This is along Muranga Road. So that's that this morning. In terms of traffic, our focus has just been around the Globe Cinema roundabout, trying to look at how this roundabout is doing in terms of traffic this early morning. And again, I will urge our viewers who are coming from this specific areas which you've tried to focus on, that for them, for actually to beat this traffic, then they may just have to leave their homes right now.
Thank you very much for that traffic update, Traffic Marshal A1 Doreen Rangi there, taking us through to how roads are looking just barely 20 minutes past 8 on this 16th day of July 2020. Now, the front page of the Daily Nation has captured, or rather tried to preempt this day's conversation around schools and the calendar and the feel. Just to have a sneak peek of what they have captured is the virus puts schools on deathbed. That's what we have the header on the paper there. Now, running on empty, 300,000 learners in some private schools face a grim future as their teachers stare at job losses because institutions are struggling under a growing amount of debt and might not reopen their doors in January. Page 4 and 5, it says that some schools have even had their electricity and water supply cut. Now, according to the Kenya National Union of Private and Boardman of Management Teachers, Uasin Gishu chapter chairman Obed Nyakundi said that more than half of the 400 private schools in the North Rift might not reopen. Now, the schools naturally depend on parents to pay bills, teachers, and rent. Parents have not paid anything for months. Some teachers have even resorted to casual jobs. The fate of the institution now hangs in the balance unless the government comes to their rescue. Yesterday we heard from experts and one of their suggestions is that for government to also include, tutors in the COVID-19 support program. Now, over the last few days, social media was abuzz when the Teachers Service Commission said its employees in public schools would enjoy their full monthly pay until learning resumes. What happens to those teachers who work in private schools? That and so much more is what we seek to hear from you in regard to your opinions about the posing of the 2020 education calendar and the overall effect it's going to have both on the students and pupils as well as teachers and parents. Quoting Professor George Magoha, who is the Education Cabinet Secretary, is that he says the government has recorded reduced revenue, making it difficult to support private schools. Then, does the onus fall on you as a parent to support private schools? Give us your feedback. We are live on our various social media platforms. Our website is www.kbc.co.ke as well as Facebook. The hashtag is KBC Kids Talk. Mine is at Manyara, and we're sure going to sample some of your feedback. Now I'd like to introduce my guests this morning who are joining us from different parts of the country. Maybe we can have them there on screen. We're going to be having Timothy Ekesa, who is the Executive Director of COC, as well as Kizia Nyaga, who is a digital marketer. Now, there are my participants this morning. Good morning. Glad to have you on board. Thank you very much. I can see several familiar faces. Thank you for coming on board. Now, let's start off with this conversation. What is your take about the posing of, we're calling it a pause on the education sector. Now, basic education as well as secondary school education has been halted for the year 2020. So for the next 6 months, children are going to be home. What is their view in this regard? My first guest. Good morning. Grace, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Great
I'm
to
well.
see you, Grace. Thank you. Just give us a brief intro of who Grace is and where she's live from.
Yes, my name is Grace Masharia. I am a Form 4 student in Moi Girls School, Nairobi. I am from Nairobi. Yes, and I'm glad to be here.
Form 4 students.
Yes.
Wow. Now that the government has made that directive that there's been a pause or rather a halt to the 2020 education calendar, effectively means that you'll not be able to sit for your exam, the Kenya National, the KCSE examinations. As a Form 4 student who has prepared for the last 4 years, what is your feel about this directive?
Well, at first we were disappointed, and yes, we were very disappointed because no one expected that. But then, there's nothing we can do about it. So you choose to take it positively and you choose to move on and say that no matter what happens, I'll remain focused. So yes. So at first I was disappointed, but then I just came to realize that this is happening to everyone in the nation, not only me, not only to my school. So I just need to take it positively and know that God has a good plan for us. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, Grace, glad to know that you are disappointed, but now you sound and you look upbeat. So in these 6 months that you're going to be home, what are you planning to do to just keep up with your studies? Because a report released actually yesterday by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development indicates that for older children, at least they lose 1% of their cognitive performance skills. So what are you going to do to ensure that you still keep up, with your studies in these 6 months?
Well, first of all, I thank my school because we have lessons every day apart from the weekends. So at least that keeps us, like every day you're able to at least go to some subjects and check out some things. Also, with a group of friends of mine, we formed a group where we discuss for at least 2 hours a day so that you don't forget everything. So yes, that's what I'm doing to keep focused. Yes.
Uh-huh. That is just focusing about, your studies and such. But now would want to know what you're doing, like just to ease up, to just enjoy life. I know you miss your friends with this COVID. You cannot mingle as you should have. This second time is when we have, I think, the music festivals, if I'm not wrong. So this is not going to be happening. So for you to socialize and just maintain a semblance of, social interaction, what are you doing?
Well, first of all, we are spending a lot of time with my family because, right now with the curfew and with the lockdown things, most of the time, all of us are at home. So we spend time together, we play games together. At least that keeps us refreshed. And also, about our friends, the only thing we do is chat because we cannot meet, sadly. And yes, that's what I do.
Mm-hmm. Now, at Form 4, I'm sure you have career aspirations. What do you want to pursue in, after you're done with high school? What do you want to pursue?
I want to pursue civil engineering.
What? I had engineering. Say that again?
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering. Wow, that is,
Yes.
I think that falls into the category of STEM, and most ladies don't, like the STEM subjects. Why civil engineering, Grace?
Well, first of all, it's because I have grown around civil engineers, so I have learned to love it and I enjoy. And then I also, yes, I just love the thought about it, yes.
Allow me to ask, what are your favorite subjects currently?
Favorite subjects?
Yes.
Biology, chemistry, and physics a bit, yes.
Physics. So you already know your combination, that what you need to really ace at when that time comes to sit for your examinations, that then is going to propel you to a university, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'd want to also pick your brain on this topic. Parents are saying that because you are home, as well as all the other pupils and students are home, is that they're not willing, they actually want their fees refunded because you guys are home and teachers are not teaching. Should your parents or guardians, in this case, continue supporting teachers in paying the school fees? What's your take?
Well, personally, I don't think they need to continue paying because some people had already finished paying the school fees. But for some people who are continuing the lessons, the teachers are requiring for the parents to at least support them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there is literally no need because right now the parents are in a financial fix. Like people are losing jobs. People are at home. You have to feed every mouth, and you have to make sure that at least the TV is on for your children to watch lessons. You have to cater for online lessons. So I think it's not really reasonable for adding to the parents another budget of paying school fees when people are at home. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Very well said. Thank you for coming on board and just giving us your view in regard to the changes in the 2020 school calendar. That is Grace Masharia, Form 4 student, live from Nairobi, saying that she wants to pursue civil engineering after her high school or rather secondary school education. Her favorite subjects are biology, chemistry, and physics. She says currently the digital platform is everything to interact with her friends that she can't meet due to social distancing, as well as learning. In as far as, paying of school fees is concerned, she says, it's going to be a burden to parents if they are asked to continue paying school fees, yet children are not accessing, their studies as they should. But says that those that are offering digital learning services should be paid at least something. We keep the conversation going, and now we cross over to Shalene Maraga. Good morning. Hi, how are you?
Morning to you, Ray. Hi.
Great to see you. I know you're live from Mombasa, right?
No, I'm still in Nairobi.
You're still in Nairobi. Last week you told us you're going to be, traveling to Mombasa. What happened?
Yeah, I booked. I checked, but the buses, the fares are biked, so I chose SGR, and they were fully booked till Saturday. So I'm traveling on Saturday.
Safe travels when you embark on that journey back to Mombasa. Now, this morning we just want to feel out your feel about the changes in the school calendar as it is. We know tertiary institutions are going to resume in September, while basic education as well as secondary schools are going to be closed for the next 6 months. I'd want to know what's your opinion about that particular issue.
Personally, I think I'll still support Grace. Kids are really angry right now. I mean, not all have the tight schedule like Grace, so I think it's going to be bad because most of the kids have been exposed. Like Migori right now, it's having 700 plus cases of pregnancy, and it's not like they're rape cases. No, they are cases of pregnancy, meaning it's something these kids have been exposed to. So I think it's not good for them having to sit down for the whole 6 months at home.
Well, then that is something that you brought up, the issue of teenage pregnancies now that the children are home. But now, Shalini, I also want to ask you, what do you think about, parents continuing to pay school fees while the students and pupils are at home? There's been a lot of talk with some of the proposals being that the parents want their school fees to be refunded. What is your take in regard to supporting the teacher, especially in private institutions at this time?
I think it's not good still because parents have the worst burden. Keeping children in touch, making sure they're safe, making sure, because right now, from health to food, catering for the rent and everything, it's a tight schedule. The financial status have deteriorated. So I don't think it's good managing to support the teacher. Again, they have to cater for the children at home because they have them at home right now. So personally, I don't think if it's good supporting both the teacher and also the kids at home, because supporting the kids right now, it's tight, remembering that businesses have really locked, and so I think they should not be supported.
How? Now let me just throw this into a spin. Teachers are also parents, and they are also feeling the heat of COVID-19 disruptions. So if they cannot earn from their living, or rather make a living out of teaching, which is their profession, then what happens?
Well, yeah, it's really tough, but I tend to think, I think they should, just as parents, the way they are really trying to fight for their kids. I mean, they're all parents, so we should all fight for our kids, because you can depend on another parent, yet the other parent also does not have anywhere to also support you. So it does not make sense. They should just all tend to fend for their families, how best they can, because there's no way I can depend on you, yet you're also at stake. So how are you going to help each other? Does not make sense.
Aha, very well. Thank you very much, Shalinda, who is in Nairobi, planning to travel to Mombasa. Thank you for your time. Now we cross over and meet Kezia Nyaga, who is a digital marketer. Good morning, Kezia. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well. How are you?
Great to have you on board. Maybe you should just give us a brief intro of who you are and where you're live from. Then kindly move back from your screen so that we can basically see you better. Much better. Give us a brief intro of who Kezia is and where you're live from.
My name is Kezia Nyaga. I'm also known as Christy Kezia. I am live from Nairobi, and I'm a digital marketer as well as a lapider. I'm a lapider, yeah.
Maybe you can explain what a lapid leader means, or rather entails.
Lapid Leaders Africa it's an institution that is passionate about youth, and what it does, it mentors youth and it coaches youth and positions them for life. It prepares them for life. So for me, I feel Lapid Leaders is a finishing school for the young who really don't know exactly what to do. They're finding their purpose. They're trying to be young leaders. So that's what Lapid does. So I am a Lapid leader. I went through Lapid Leaders, and yeah, I refer myself to as a Lapid leader.
Very well. Thank you for that intro. Now we're currently discussing about the changes in the 2020 school calendar. What opinion do you have with the closure of schools for the next 6 months, and just basically the halting of that particular calendar? We're not going to have any KCPE examinations happening this year, neither are we going to have KCSE examinations being written this year. However, tertiary institutions are going to be opening up in September. All this COVID disruptions. At the same time, from where you sit, since you deal with the youth, we've seen issues of gender-based violence, especially among the youth within the family setup, within these learning institutions, and the issue of teenage pregnancy. How about you just give us an opinion of those issues that I have mentioned?
I have a Form 4 sister who's in Form 4. And to many, it's a relief that they're not going to be sitting for exams. To some, of course, it's stressful, but this is the new normal of COVID-19. So I feel we need to embrace the current happenings of the world and the nation, and we need to be open about everything and be prepared for the after COVID. So this is a time for kids to bond with their parents more, to build on their character, to build on their skills, to get on social media and create content, of course with mentors and coaches by their side. So yeah, it's a time for us to have a very clear mindset and a very positive attitude towards all this. Despite what is happening, we need to be prepared and we need to embrace it all so that we grow through it. We need to grow through it. On gender-based violence, there are very many institutions that have come up that help those people who are in such situations, and it's a time to reach out to them because there are so many mentors. Like Lapid has very many mentors, very many coaches who work with young kids and help them be better. So yeah, it's a time to be very much open about everything that is happening and have the right attitude. We must face this, and we must face it with a very strong face, with a very firm voice. Yes.
I also want to pick your brain in regard to this debate as to whether parents should continue paying school fees while children are at home. What's your take?
I feel that school fees needs to be paid. I feel it needs to be paid because these are teachers who are still working very hard to teach young kids and to position them and to, support them. I feel it's important that they are paid, but I don't feel that all the burden should be on the parents alone. I feel the government should step in and help everyone because many people are without jobs. Many kids are out there waiting to be taught and for people to work with them. So it's time for also parents to reach out to coaches and mentors and small institutions that help raise kids. But I still feel that school fees needs to be paid, but it should not, the whole burden should not be on parents. There should be help. Yes.
Now, live from Nairobi, that is Kezi Nyaga, who is a digital marketer, saying that there is need for mentorship, especially where the youth are concerned. Do not go away, Kezi. We'll be back with you to just shed more light on what you mean post-COVID and even during COVID, what we can do to empower our youth who are going to be home for a while and might be feeling discouraged, with the current changes in the education sector. Crossing over to Mombasa County, we meet Ruth Oguna. Good morning, Ruth. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you.
Fine. Now, what is your take about, just the changes in the school calendar? And you can just remind us at which stage of learning are you in? Which class? Which school probably, and what you think about the current changes in the education or rather school calendar 2020?
My name is Ruth Oguna. I'm 14 years old. I'm a candidate in PCM Makupa Academy and I reside in Mombasa.
Now, as a candidate, I know you have been preparing for the last 8 years so that you can cross over to secondary school. Now, this is not likely. That is not going to be happening in 2020. How does that make you feel, Ruth?
It's not easy. It makes me feel much more anxious than I was in the beginning of the year. And it's not easy at all because school should remain to be school and home should remain to be home. Mixing the two is not easy, especially when you're a candidate, you have siblings. There's so much that you want to do. It's not easy at all.
You've mentioned something very, very interesting there, that home should be home and school should be school. Now you're going to be home and it is expected that you treat your home as school because, government is trying very much to ensure that students get, still keep up with their learning through digital platforms or what you call remote learning. Are you accessing this and is it helping you just, keep up with your curriculum? What is your take on that?
You see, there's still the government is trying, but how hard are they trying? Because not everyone is accessing this online learning. I am attending this online learning, but compared to when I was in school, I felt like in school I was doing much, I was more focused. Because then at home, literally, this is something that I'm feeling. You feel regressing slowly by slowly, and it's you and your family who has to make yourself move up. So my graph is weird, and I don't think I'm the only one. Because one day your graph is up, the other day is low. It's not like in school, whereby it's heading high. And I think the government should be doing more. Because not everyone is attending these classes. I thank God that my parents are able to pay for me and for me to do the classes. But seriously speaking, it's not easy and it's not as comforting as someone may think it is.
How are you balancing, just doing your chores that are required of you, being a child within the home setup, and just catching up with the studies? Are you feeling a strain? And if it is, how are you balancing the two, Ruth?
My parents are just wonderful. Their support is just amazing. My family supports me in everything that I do. So making this work out, they do everything in their will and in their power to do it for me so that I can manage my school, my home, being with them, doing my work, revising and everything.
Now, what is your feel about having to retake your last year as a candidate?
I don't think it's good, but something had to be done. If it had to be done, then I don't think there's anything wrong. Though in the beginning, I was very bitter about it, but I can't change anything. That's how it's going to be done, and I have to accept and move on. Though a year back, I was ready to clear my KCSE when I'm 18, get my ID, but now I'll do that when I'm 19, which is not as interesting.
I like your honesty. I know what you're feeling, the anxiety, crossing over from primary school to secondary school brings a feel of confidence. You become, you're a young adult.
Yeah.
You're a young adult, and it would have felt very nice to actually, start shopping for your Form 1 stuff, a little bit independent. But hey, it's going to happen in good time. And I like that you're pragmatic, that you cannot do anything about it. You can only adapt. And I like your adaptability. So in this time that you're going to be home, other than just revising and doing house chores, how do you want, what are you doing? What are you engaging yourself in to just, lessen the tension and the anxiety, How are you interacting? I know you're not going out because of, COVID-19 and all that, but how are you getting by? What are your hobbies? What are you engaging in that is new that you have learned under this time?
Oh, I sing a lot. We read the Bible. We just walk around the house for walking sake. I dance with my family and everything. That feeling of being happy, being with your family. That's something actually I got to know and realize through this period, which you get to be with family more. So we sing, we dance, we walk around.
I like that you're walking around and dancing. Some of us
In
cannot.
the house.
Yeah. Okay, well, your family is quite unique, and I actually congratulate your parents for ensuring that you have such a conducive environment there. Now, talking about your relations between you and your siblings, being a pre-candidate, now that has been halted, how are you now relating with your siblings who are also going to be, have been taken aback 1 year? And have you had these conversations? Has it gotten to a point where you're having this conversation with your siblings to just make them understand and also just share your feelings about, the kind of disappointment that you went through when you found out that you could not sit for your national examinations?
My sibling, who is my brother and my sisters, mostly my brother because he's just 2 years older than me, he understood me from day one because he was also there and he understands. And he also understands that having a pandemic and also being a candidate isn't easy. For him, there was no pandemic and he was also a candidate, but he was also anxious. So now he also felt the pain that I went through. He's also going through the same because currently he's going to repeat Form 2 and I'm going to repeat Class 8. But we try our best to understand each other, though siblings will be siblings.
I like, siblings will be siblings. That hints at, having that kind of sibling rivalry there. But it's good that you acknowledge that children are children. Now, thank you very much, Ruth. I'd want you to just keep you on board during this meeting because we have so much to talk about, especially, the role or rather tidbits that we can learn from one another, especially young adults in this time. Now we still get back to Kezia Nyaga. Now you've heard there from Ruth Oguna, very optimistic. This was a candidate planning to sit her exams in 2020. That is not going to happen. She says at some point, this has actually made her more anxious because, they don't know when the axe will literally fall, if indeed in January or February they're going to sit for these examinations and such. The issue of repeating and all that stuff. As a mentor, as a coach, one word of advice to Ruth Oguna at this point and any other candidate who is just looking at the uncertainty of the future.
There's one thing that we use at Lapid and generally I use in life, and that is self-encouragement. Every day you need to meditate and give yourself positive words of affirmation, and you affirm yourself with very good attitude. Because the new normal is here. This is how it's going to be. So, because it's not going to change, what are you going to do? I think it's important for us to have, or for every young girl or boy outside there whose exams have been cancelled and they're looking forward to finishing school at 19, we need to understand that we really don't have control of life. Generally, we don't have control. The new normal is here. What we used to or wrote our plans were, if they have been disrupted, then you have to go with the disruption, but keep calm in the storm, because this is somewhat a storm. So take in the right attitude, continue studying, continue reading the Bible, bond with your parents, bond with your friends on call, draw out your dream and your visions, prepare for the future, because the future is going to come. And for now, when you're in the storm, we have to sail through and ask for calm in the storm. Yeah. So yeah, continue talking to your parents, continue gaining strength, continue praying, keep the right attitude. We're going to get through this. And age is just but a number. We're going to get through, you're going to do your exams, you're going to pass, and life is going to continue, but it's going to be a different level of the life that we saw or we perceived or expected. So yeah, keep up and keep strong.
Thank you very much, Kezia. Thank you very much, Kezia, there for that word of encouragement. I hope Ruth has heard that age is nothing but a number. Completing her, her high school at the age of 19 doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of the world, and we cannot control so much about the future, but we can deal with what we have right now, and that's surviving, keeping calm, and, being positive, Thank you very much, Kezia, there. Still remain to be present in this meeting. You will be providing the mentorship and coach and coaching and life, life experiences to these young ones that we're speaking to today. Now we cross over to Michael and Veronica. Good morning, Michael and Veronica. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Michael? Great. Now tell us how old you are, Michael, and at what stage of learning are you in? Michael, it seems we are having a bit of a hitch there. Their feed from Nakuru there is not as steady as we'd want it. Once it stabilizes, we will get back to you. How about we meet Ariana? Good morning, Ariana. Hi, Ariana. Great to see you. Ariana, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
Great to hear from you. We have missed you on the show. How have you been keeping up? How have you been keeping up?
Good.
Great. Now schools are going to be closed for the next 6 months. What do you think about that?
Very bad. Don't like it.
Good question. What will you do? What are you thinking you're going to be doing in these 6 months that schools are going to be closed?
My parents are going to look for me a teacher that is going to help me play guitar. I mean keyboard and an art teacher.
Mm-hmm. So your parents are going to find a private tutor for you during this 6 months. What do you think about that?
That's good.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Now, Ariana, you're 11, right?
No.
How old are you, Ariana?
8.
Oh, you're 8. Sorry about that. I'd given you an extra 3 years there. Maybe it's because you hold yourself with a lot of maturity, which I admire. Now, at 8 years, I'd want to know, you've said the close of school for 6 months is not a good thing, but your parents are looking to find a private tutor to just ensure that you keep up with your studies. It means you're likely to repeat a class come next year. How does that make you feel?
Very bad. I don't want to repeat class 3.
What? Kindly,
I don't want to repeat class 3.
You do not want to repeat a class, but now you have to repeat a class. Or rather, we can only wait, but so far the way things are looking, you might just as well repeat a class come next year. Now, what are you going to be doing on a personal level other than just, attending tutor classes to just ensure that, you still socialize with your friends, you do things that make you happy during this 6 months? What are you looking at?
I help my mom with the plant at the back, kitchen garden, and I play with my brothers mostly, and I do ballet, and then help my mom cook. make some things.
Ah, that's nice. Cooking, managing the kitchen garden, doing some ballet here and there, right? So now, because teachers are not going to be teaching you for this 6 months, do you think they should, your parents should pay school fees?
No, the government should.
The government should pay the school fees, or rather pay the teacher?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, but the government has said, and let me read for you a quote here by Professor George Magoha, the Education Cabinet Secretary. He says, the government has recorded reduced revenue, making it difficult to support private schools. What this means is that government has said because of COVID-19, they do not have the revenue required to support private schools. So private schools, I believe you attend a private school, and statistics show that these schools might not reopen come January. What's your feel about that, Ariana?
Bad.
Bad. Thank you very much, Ariana. There, 8-year-old Ariana says that this 6 months that the schools have been closed are bad for her, though her parents are going to be getting her a private tutor. And the question about if teachers should be paid during this time when children are at home, she says no. The government should actually pay the teachers because teachers are an integral part of society. Well, we'll keep your feedback coming. Remember, our Twitter handle is at KBC Channel 1 News, and mine is at Ray Manyara, while my colleagues is at Doreen Arange. Now, Ariana, we still want you to continue being in the meeting so that we can have a close. We have a mentor and a coach here. Maybe there are a few questions that you'd want to ask her about, just life skills going forth. We cross over and we hear from Ruth Masharia. Good morning, Ruth. How are you? We see you trying to adjust your gadget there.
Good morning, everyone. Hi.
Great. Now that you're stable, we can also introduce you to our viewers. Good morning, Ruth Masharia.
Good morning.
Great to have you on board. Now, you've heard what our guests have said. From there, the students tend to feel that, paying school fees while children are at home is not good. Our 8-year-old Ariana there just said that the government should actually take it upon itself to pay teachers during this COVID-19 situation, while Grace Masharia says that the pressure would be too much on the parents if they were asked to continue paying school fees. And besides, Ruth Oguna says that not everyone is accessing digital learning. So for teachers to demand to be paid, or rather schools to demand that parents pay the school fees, then that is not working, and that the government should do just a little bit more for her, who is a candidate, was ready to prepare for her exams and will take her exams this year, and is contending with the fact that it will not happen this year. They're saying more has to be done from the side of government. Ruth Masharia, you're coming on board as a parent, and I'd want to hear your thoughts in regard to these changes that have been put in place in the education system, especially the school calendar.
Actually, I'm a parent of two candidates, which I was so ready to do who are ready to do exams this year, a class 8 and a form 4, and as a parent, of course, when these things have happened, of course there was a shock, but again we had to accept what is happening, and I want to I had to take it positive that I have to stay at home. I had to change everything, stay at home with my children to help them do the revising and everything, and to continue giving them hope. So as a parent, I just want to say it's good to support the teachers. I know, like my children, maybe one is in government and the other one is in private school. So when the schools closed, the private, they were not able to get it, they were not being paid by school. So what these children are saying is because the children, the private schools is a challenge because the parents are the ones who pay the teachers. And now that there is no school, there is no going to school, there is nothing, the parents now, maybe the teacher has to make some initiative to reach the parents, and maybe not just lay paying, just support them there, like the Zoom lessons and all that. So to me, it's not, we're not paying the school fees because we are not in school. One thing, you should take it positive because we are not in, okay, you are creating relations with your parents, that is one thing. You are also having more time to know how to relate with your siblings. You are also having time to know yourself better because it was school always. Because it's always good to see at the positive side that all things work together for good. So there is nothing that God did not know about this COVID-19, and it's time for you to have time with your parents, to know how to cook. I hear some of you are learning how to cook, you are learning how to do things, you are learning how to relate with your siblings. Maybe if this year was not maybe back like what you are doing now, ungejua some of those things. So for me, I'm taking it positive, and for sure, as you are saying, the government is not we are the government, and if it's coming to paying the school fees, I'm not seeing it like paying school fees. You're just sponsoring the church, encouraging the teachers who are out there. Some of them are not being paid, and then encouraging to keep in touch with you so that you don't forget what the teachers taught you. Because when these teachers are not in touch with you, by the time you go back to school, the time when the light time, the time that this thing will be over, you may be back and they'll start again at zero. So I think what the parents are supposed to do, just support what is happening, is that the teachers are also parents. So I believe they also need to be supported and to be encouraged because they also need to be your children. So let it take positive, and let's just accept this has happened, and let's be positive, and let's accept that we have this extra time to be with our parents and to connect with them and to be the best we can. Yeah, I think I don't know how I'm communicating.
Now, Ruth Macharia, the parent, the first of our guests here to just say that paying of these teachers is essential, and you shouldn't, as a parent, consider it as paying school fees, but rather than supporting the teachers and the school during this time. Statistics indicate that around 300,000 learners in some private schools are facing a grim future as their teachers stare at job losses. And it means that come January, these teachers might just be jobless. And if they are jobless, it means that these 300,000 children might just enroll in already crowded, learning institutions. So Ruth Macharia, a parent, says that she considers paying something small for the Zoom classes as supporting the school as well as teachers, so that her children, who happen to be candidates, or whether were candidates at KCPE and KCSE Class 8 and Form 4, to just continue maintaining, momentum for their revision ahead of their exams. Before I let you go, Ruth Macharia, I would want to know that both your children are likely to repeat, or rather retake, that 1 year. How does that make you feel as a parent? Ruth Macharia? Unmute your mic, Ruth Macharia, because that's the question I'm asking you. Kindly unmute your mic.
Yes, I have. You can hear me now?
Yes, we can. I'd want to know on a personal level, how do you feel about your two children having to retake a year?
For me, I think I've nothing. I've taught, and it's good. At first, I felt bad, and after even myself, talking for the other parents, it's a shock. It was a shock, but and seeing the news and seeing what is happening, and it is beyond. It was not anyone's fault. It's something that has affected all over the nation, even outside the nation. So for me, we end to talk and say it's not affecting us as far as you, as my children. It's all over, and the best thing we need is just to accept. And then again, I told them maybe there are things that were not covered in in this class, and maybe you missed somewhere something. So it's your time now to go back and lead and lead. And by the time you go back, you can get the best you can get. I told my daughter, you can get your A's in everything now. You can. Then my son, I told him, you can get over 400 marks for you now. And now because of that, they got encouraged, and we are now moving on. They are working out towards the things they did not cover the years. Maybe they missed in the other classes. They are now working, and we are taking it positive. And again, someone said years are just a number. That people finished Form 4 and they did not get the grade they needed to get because of maybe the pressure and they did not prepare well. But here they are, God has given them a chance to do the chemistry they did not understand, the biology they did not understand, and come out with a grade they could not have gotten if they did the exam there. So for me, I'm taking positive. It's not about the year, it's about what are you coming out after class 8, after Form 4, what are you coming out with? So it's the time now to refine themselves and to work hard and to take it positive and go back to those revisions and do the best they can do. And that's the advice I can give to the one who's in class 3. It's not about the year. Years are just a number. Even as you're out of school and people are still in school. So it's not about a number. Even when your parent will still be going to school. School is shangy. We just continue learning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ruth Macharia there. School, it's ever a learning curve for everyone. Whether you're an adult out of school or you're already working, learning is a continuous process. I like the gusto. I like, the positiveness about this issue, that this, especially for candidates both in class 8 and Form 4, is that this is an opportunity to just revise or rather tighten the ropes in regard to those subjects that you are feeling, you are anxious about. So this time, Natalie, we are coming to you in not too long. Natalie Kaikai. Now just take time and revise all that you have covered in the previous years. That is a message from Ruth Macharia, who is a parent and who is ready and willing to support teachers during this time, saying she considers that not just paying school rent, but just supporting teachers who are equally parents elsewhere and the school to remain afloat to avoid a disaster come January 2021. Now, Natalie Kaikai, good morning. Glad you could join us on the show.
Yes.
Great. Now, if I'm
Good
not
morning.
Great. If I'm not wrong, is that you are studying at Maseno, right?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. I remember.
I'm a student in Maseno University. I do media.
Great. Great to have you. Now, tertiary institutions are going to reopen in September. Are you ready to go back to school? And are you confident that, strict guidelines and protocols, especially within that have been set out by the health ministry, social distancing, sanitizing, and masking, are going to be adhered to in your institution?
Okay, I can't say I'm ready to go back to school, but it's high time to go back to school. It's something we have to prepare psychologically after staying home for so long. As for going back to school in September, I think it's a far-fetched dream, especially in universities with the population in our institution. So it may work for colleges, but university may be a little tricky, adhering to social distancing, even judging by the number of people we have per class and the size of the classroom. So it will be difficult for universities to adhere to reach to the standards that Professor Magoha set. And then also, going back to school, it may be for fourth years mainly, so that they may clear. But I don't think the whole university will reopen.
Mm-hmm. Now, Natalie, you've highlighted some of the key areas that you are, pointed areas of concern, the issue of the number of the students within your institution. You're not so sure you'll be able to maintain social distancing because of the population. And you have said this will take a lot of planning mentally, especially for students who have been away from school for a while. In your opinion, Natalie, When should these tertiary institutions open?
They should open as soon as they can adhere to the standards that have been set to reduce the spread of COVID-19. I believe it will be tricky, but it's possible. So as soon as we're able to adhere to all the set regulations, we'll be good to go. Yeah.
Until they're good and ready to adhere to the protocols, then that's when they should be ready. On a personal level, Natalie, do you think you'll be able to handle or rather just maintain, or see to social distancing, masking and sanitizing within the university? Look at the cafeteria, for example. Look at the hostel, for example. Are these places going to be able to adhere to these health guidelines? And also on an individual level, this is campus life. We all know it's life on the fast lane. Are you sure that are you confident that you can actually see this through?
Sincerely, no. I don't think it will be really possible, because as much as I wear a mask and I sanitize, I still have, like, for example, in my class we are about 100 students, and that is excluding common units, which sometimes go up to about 500 to 1,000 students in a hall. So it will be very hard, and even interacting with friends who we've not seen in such a long time and we are close and we live with them, it won't be so easy to adhere to social distancing. And even when you go out to get food and just do normal school stuff, it will be very difficult.
Thank you very much, Natalie, there. Thank you for giving us your honest opinion about the resumption of, learning institutions, or rather reopening of learning institutions in September. She says she's not so sure that she can, on an individual level, just maintain, social distancing and masking because of, the huge numbers within the universities and such. Now we cross over and hear from Precious. Good morning, Precious. How are you? Precious, good morning.
Good morning.
Great to see you. Kindly move a little bit back from the screen so that we can better see you. I think that's much better. Precious, now you are good to go. Precious, tell us how old you are and where you're live from.
So, my name is Precious Amaida. I'm 14 years old. And I studied at Arange Girls School.
That is 14-year-old Precious. As we try and fix the sound there from Precious, just to redo a recap on from what we heard from Natalie Kaikai, who is studying media and ICT in Maseno University, saying that I think September is a little bit too soon for tertiary institutions to reopen, citing the population and just the activities within the universities. How about we get to hear from Francis Gishuhe? Good morning, Francis. How are you? Are you of a different opinion from what we have so far heard? Good morning, Francis.
Morning.
Great. How about you tell us how old you are and where you're live from?
I'm Francis Geshohe. I'm 13 years. I school at St. Antonio Primary School and I'm live from Nakuru.
Thank you very much. Now, what is your take about the current changes in the school calendar? We're not going to be having school for the next 6 months. KCSE and KCPE are put on hold. What is your take?
My take is that it is disappointing that we're not in school, and I miss the company of my friends at school. At home, I usually, at my free time, my parents parents helped me to make some things using the clay, paper mache, and
Okay, I think we're having an issue there with your sound quality. Francis Gishohe will be coming back to you once we stabilize that sound. How about now we rope in Kezia Nyaga. Kezia, you just heard that for Francis Gishohe that it is quite disappointing that he's not going to be in school, and he says he misses the company of his friends. Now, the issue of socialization is an integral part, in terms of, especially for those in their formative age and young adults. What do you have to say in regard to the role of mentors that mentors can play, in as far as socialization is concerned? Kezia?
As far as socialization is concerned, it's an integral part of a human being to socialize and talk to people and be one and all that. And it's important that we keep on socializing and keep on talking to people. So do not falter at calling your people or receiving calls and opening up to your mentors and coaches and even your parents. This is such a key time for you to bond with your parents. If your relationship is bad, it's a time to mend it. If a relationship between you and your siblings is very fightful, it's a time to ask even God for divine wisdom on how you can relate and how you can live better with your people. COVID-19 is making us stay with our parents more and be with our siblings more. And maybe these are the places where there's so much distress, there's so much pain, but it's for a purpose. It's for a purpose for us to gain more character and take advantage of the time that we have with our people. So yes, it's very important to socialize and be key on calling each other and being strong, and also delegating the times that you're feeling it's really hard. You always try to delegate. Ask your mom, ask your dad, because all these people have it. Our parents have it. They have been young, and they have it. They know how to be a young girl. They know how to be a young man. So yeah, they have it in us. They have it in them, and they are able to import in us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. There, Kezia, agreeing that socialization is an integral part of every person's, growth, whether young or old. And at this point is that role models have a role to play so that, they can help us shape our world views in a better, in a different light. Now, just to read an excerpt from a pullout, actually borrowed from the report that was tabled, is that the coronavirus pandemic has exposed a gap between learners from wealthy and poor families, as a majority of those in elite private schools continue with their studies despite the cancellation of the academic year. Now, millions of public school learners cannot access online lessons, and since a few households have smartphones or laptops, now many private schools are also engaging learners in Google and Zoom classes where parents are paying for the lessons. Grim statistics there. COVID-19 has exposed a gap between the rich and the poor, coming at a time when you're told that, education is the only thing that your parents can give you to just propel you to become a better person in the future. Huge disparity between the poor and the rich. Roping in Timothy Ekesa, who is the Executive Director of KARC, to just share his insight in regard to the current changes within the school calendar. Good morning, Timothy. How are you?
Good morning, Regina. Thank you for following the discussion. Great ideas from children, from experts, and from mentors.
What is your take about the current changes within just the school calendar? Some issues that have been brought about by some of the children who are participating is that they're anxious about sitting their examinations, given that they were candidates, and now KCSE and KCPE have been literally squashed, or rather put on hold for now, while others are saying that they are disappointed because this 6 months they're going to be missing their friends at this point, while others are saying they're worried, while parents are saying that they have had now to step up their parenting role and ensure that their children do not sink into depression and they still keep up with their cognitive performance skills. What is your take?
Thank you very much, Regina, for that. I totally agree. COVID-19 is inevitable. It's affecting the whole world. It's affecting Kenya, and we have to accept it. But my take on this is that I think the country is speaking to everybody except the child. Just as the Minister of Minister of Health is giving updates on daily basis on how many people are infected, those who have died, those who have recovered. I think the Minister of Education also needs to actually share information to the children. My problem is that the educationists are quiet, so the children are wondering what is happening. I think it is high time that they also got assurance. That the mentor there talked about assurance of children showing things are okay. I think it is important for the educationists in this country to also, even if it's a weekly or a bi-weekly meeting, to be able just to also talk to the children and assure them that, well, doing everything we need so that we can be able to go back to school. They could also even be sharing some of what they have done. Have they expanded the schools? Have they got enough masks? Because the truth is that when come January, it will not be business as usual. We will not go back to 2018 January. Things have changed in this country and we need to change. And that will also keep the teachers busy. Because even right now, teachers will also be sharing messages to the children, be it through WhatsApp, be it through media, be it through newspapers, so that the children can be assured our teachers are there. These children form a bond with the teachers. I'm sure some of them are even just missing to hear a voice of a teacher. Some of them are just missing to hear a voice of their head teacher or even the headmaster. Then back on the issue of the private schools and the teachers. There are no private children in Kenya. The children in the private school are just Kenyans like any other Kenyan. And for me, my view is that if the government is paying the teachers who are in public schools, they should also just be able to also support the teachers who are in private schools, because they are not teaching private children. They are Kenyan children, and their parents also, they are Kenyans also. They're also facing COVID. It doesn't mean that teachers who are in private schools don't face COVID. They are actually just facing it. So for me, my take is that I think we need to do a bit more to assure the children. We need to do a bit more to engage the teachers so that they also just don't sit and feel idle.
Mm-hmm. Quite a mouthful there. Tim, I want to also bring out with what drop you in on and seeking your opinion. Natalie Kaikai is studying media at Maseno University, and she says she's not so sure or confident that institutions, tertiary institutions, are going to be able to adhere to the laid down health protocols by September ahead of the reopening. What's your take?
Because I agree with Natalie, she has not seen anything. I'm sure she has not seen any information about Maseno University, whether they have converted the fields into classes, whether they have kept, they have already spaced out the classes. There is no information. All we are hearing is that you will go back to school, you will not go back to school, you will open in January. So that's what I'm talking about. If we assured students with the university and colleges, and even show them, they could even show, she's a media person, they could show some pictures of Maseno University and tell her, Natalie, things are okay. I'm sure that will build confidence in her, and she'll want to go back to university. But without that, I agree with her. I don't think we are ready.
Mm-hmm. Now let's also focus at the issue of having parents continue supporting the schools and teachers, especially in just paying the school fees. Earlier on in the week, we had a debate and there were proposals that schools that had already received the school fees full term for the year need to reimburse the parents those monies paid. And we had varying opinions. Today, from where you sit as a parent and as a person who is a child rights advocate, from wearing those two hats, do you think that parents should continue paying school fees, or they continue paying teachers, especially in the private school, during this difficult time of COVID-19?
I think for me, for first term, we can say the fees of first term, because my question is, why do parents pay school fees? First of all, in Kenya, in education is subsidized. Even the government is paying school fees for children. For first term, we only remain with 2 weeks to closure. So the money we pay school fees to keep the children in school, to pay the teachers, to pay the workers, to make the schools be clean. So for first term, that was all that happened. But from first term, I think it's up to the schools and to the ministry and to the parents to assure us that those things have been going on, that they have been keeping schools clean. I'm sure I talked to one of the head teachers, and she tells me, actually, she passed by the school like after 2 months, and she found the whole classes, there was grass all over. Nothing is happening. Nobody is working in the schools. So if that money was meant to do for those things and nothing is being done, I don't know what will the parents be paying for. And I'm sure the bursar is not working. Nobody's working. The workers are not in the school. So to me, the school should be able just to be able, like even for us, we pay some fees for needy children, and we paid for the whole year. We are actually expecting that when the schools open, we should only be able to pay for one term, when the schools open in January, if it is projected, because the money is there. Where has the money gone?
That Alfred Indemuli Kahi, who is the chair of the Kenya Secondary School Heads Association, said yesterday in regard to that particular question. He said that there are other services that the school continues to run, like pay for water, pay for electricity, pay the security that run whether the schools are closed or not. Then he also brought about the issue of teachers. Now that the government has said that it has recorded reduced revenue, it is making it difficult to support private schools. Their private schools are arguing that this should not be the case because we already understand they have employed teachers from the service commission. That is the argument from the teachers' point of view team, that there are services that they have to pay for whether the children are in school or not, and better yet, some are already offering online classes. They have to pay for security, and they also have to keep the teacher in their employ.
I totally agree with the Indemuli, but my question is, who is drinking the water in the school? Are the children in school to drink the water? Are we talking about electricity? All the schools are lit at night. All the classes are lit at night. Who is studying in school? Unless we have some other business going on in the schools. Unless it is like one of the schools I saw, the owner turned it into, he has taken the field and he has planted vegetables, and the classrooms are being used for keeping chicken, rearing chicken. If they're using electricity for those kind of things, we'll understand. But to me, I know there'll be minimum, there'll not be maximum. Secondly, teachers are paid by the government. They are not paid by the parents for public schools. But for private schools, it is the fees that parents pay, that the owners of the schools pay the teachers. So to me, that's very different. But if they are TSC teachers, most of them are TSC teachers, and that's where we are saying, these teachers are Kenyans. These teachers are also facing COVID. Just like the government is subsidizing those who are needy, subsidizing those with disability, old people. This is another category of people who need to be subsidized because they are not a government payroll.
Mm-hmm. Very, very passionate there. But the question has always been the private schools. We are looking at grim statistics. Over 300,000 students are likely to, drop out of school. Why? Because the schools have closed and they'll now have to come to the public schools come January. So there have been proposals to have the government come up with an economic stimulus to actually support tutors during this time. Do you think this is something that we ought to really, or rather government needs to focus on, Timothy?
Regina, I can tell you that is in the best interest of the government. Because if we don't keep those children or those schools working, the private schools, in January, this magical January we are talking about, there'll be chaos in the schools. Where will the 40,000 children go? The 300 children. So the private schools actually have to be there so that they'll absorb the 300 children as the government takes care of the other children who are remaining. Because we're having 19 million children in school, 3 million in ECD, and half of them are in private schools. Then we have, I think, 10 million in primary, and about I think 9 million in high school. And the thing is, it is in the interest of the government that those schools are working. Otherwise, because it is a right, it is actually all Kenyan children have a right to get education from the government. The private schools are actually subsidizing the government. So for me, if they are service to the government, it is just in the interest of the government to keep the schools working, to keep the teachers being paid, so that come January, they will continue. Otherwise, there will be chaos in January. All the children will come to public schools which are already overflooded. What will happen? It will be chaos.
Good question there. What will be happen if government does not take the bull by its horns, literally, and support the private schools? The education sector needs to run, and that is in the interest of the government. So says our guest there, Timothy Kesa, who is Executive Director of CARC. Thank you, Timothy, for your time. Now we cross over to Spacey. Good morning, Spacey. How are you? Spicy, how are you?
I'm fine.
Great. You have a very interesting name, and one of my directors was really asking, is it Spacey or Spicy? So which one is it?
Spicy.
Spicy. Wow. What's your second name, Spicy?
Spicy Wangoi.
Spicy Wangoi. Where are you live from?
I'm live from Nakuru County.
Great. How old are you, Spicy?
I recently turned 13 years old.
Wow, congratulations. 13 is a beautiful stage, you know, yeah, transition stage there from you just a teen, adolescent, young adult, thereabout. Very confusing time to be growing up, but you'll ace it. Now, schools have been closed for the, going to be closed for the next 6 months. What is your take on that?
It's really boring for me because every day you wake up knowing that you're going to go through the same routine as every day. And you normally don't get to see your friends, which is frustrating for me.
So for you, it's boring and the fact that you do not get to see your friends. But then, you have 6 months to go. What are you going to do within your 6 months to just ensure you just don't get so bored, you know? 6 months is a long time.
I actually don't know what I'm going to do because it's a long time.
Okay, now I'd want to know, do you access digital learning? Are you learning remotely?
Yes, but it's expensive. My parents have to pay the school fees, and I find it confusing. Why do they pay the school fees while it's on online classes?
Digital learning is, your parents are saying you're finding it expensive. Now, in your opinion, we've been discussing on whether, you know, the parents should continue paying a little money, whether it's in school fees or just appreciation and in support of teachers who are offering these digital learning programs online. What is your take, Spicy?
I don't think they should pay the school fees because where is the money going to? Why do they need it? We only need to buy the bundles and we are good to go.
Yeah, but if you're buying the bundles, let me just let me be the devil's advocate here. Well, you'll buy the bundles, you get your Wi-Fi, you get to get into a Zoom class. This Zoom class is being conducted by a teacher, and that their profession is teaching, so they're teaching online. Shouldn't they get just something small to ensure that they are motivated to continue rendering their online classes? What's your take, Spicy?
Yes, I think they should get something, but not much, because you are the people who are buying the bundles.
I like when you say you are the people who are buying bundles. I'm sure at 13 you're not the one buying, but it's your parents. Thank you very much for your opinion in that regard. And before I let you go, are you comfortable with repeating a class come 2021?
No, I'm not, because I was already preparing to be a candidate next year. But when I found out you are going to repeat, it was sad for me, because I already started boasting to my friends that I'm finally going to leave primary school.
Now it seems you're going to be there for one more year. But anyway, as we say, and I'll borrow what we've heard from our mentor, Kezia Nyaga, is that age is nothing but a number, and that, you know, we have to just keep the faith and we have to survive COVID-19. Thank you, Spicy, there. 13-year-old Spicy says she's not so comfortable, she's not so happy having to retake a class come January 2021. Says the current situation is quite boring. She has not figured it out exactly what she's going to be doing in the next 6 months. I don't know what Wayne Njoroge has to say in that regard. Does he find it boring, and is he anxious about, you know, the future in regard to the school calendar? Wayne Njoroge, good morning. Good morning, Wanjoroge. How are you? Kindly sit up so that we can be able to frame you and get a better picture of you. Wanjoroge, good morning. Tell us where you're live from and how old you are.
Good morning.
Great to have you. Quite a powerful voice you have there. Where are you live from?
My name is Swen Joroge. I'm from Nakuru County.
Ah,
I'm 14 years old.
You're 14 years old. You are moving. You're moving. Kindly get a position to stand in first so that we can have you steady. Wine Joroge, 14 years old. We're going to be getting back to Nakuru County with Wine Joroge. I understand that you have stabilized, or rather your field has stabilized. Wine Joroge, you were saying? Great, we can see you better. How are you this morning?
I'm very good. And how are you?
I'm good myself. It's chilly in Nairobi. I don't know. Is it chilly in Nakuru?
Yes.
Good. I can see you in a hoodie. Now, schools are going to be closed for the next 6 months. And if you're 14, it means you must have been a candidate. Are you?
Yes, I'm a candidate.
Great. What do you feel about having to retake your examinations when schools reopen in 2021?
I feel that's good. That's very good to open next year. Because I was very nervous for the KCPE.
Very well. I like the way you said good. So during this time, during these 6 months, what are you going to be engaging yourself in to just keep up with your, with your studies? What are you going to be doing?
I learned through online with my mother's phone by Kupavu 291.
Good. Do you think that is enough for you to just catch up with the lost time in school? Does it substitute the lost time in school? Do you think it's adequate?
No.
So what are you doing to substitute that, or rather, just because teachers are no longer in school, so what are you doing to just keep up other than just doing the online? What else are you doing in your individual capacity to ensure that come January 2021, when the school calendar comes out and maybe they say you're ready to do the KCPE, you're going to be good and ready?
Yes, my mom has some connections through WhatsApp.
Now, there's been a concern that, there's a lot of exposure to children, courtesy of being online, the digital learning, the remote learning, you call it that. There's been a lot of exposure online. Have you found yourself in a situation where you've accessed material that is not so good for your consumption, and what have you done in that situation?
Yes, I have revised with it like Shupavu 291. I revised with it.
Now, kindly take that again. I didn't quite get you. Njoroge. What did you say about...
I learned through Shupavu 291. I learned through Shupavu 291. And I don't understand, I call the Safaricom number. They have given me a number to call them.
Good. Thank you very much. At least you know what to do in such a situation. Now, there's been talk that, during these 6 months, that parents who had paid their full fee for the year need to, get reimbursed, or rather the schools should return the monies that parents had paid for the year. And also suggestions that because teachers are offering digital classes, that parents should pay something small to support digital learning. What is your take, Njoroge?
Pardon, I did not understand you.
Do you think parents should continue paying some amount of money, whether school fees or just a little stipend to teachers while schools are closed?
No.
Why?
Because you see, during this corona, there are some businesses which have been closed down, and parents don't have the money to pay the school fees.
But teachers are parents, right? So what, in your opinion, should we do?
Have to do
what should be done? What should be done then to support teachers who are also parents, because they earn a living from teaching? What do you think should be done to support them?
The government should provide some things for them, for the teachers, so that they can feed their families.
Thank you very much.
That is the work of the government.
That is the work of the government. Point. Okay, fine. Thank you very much for your feedback in regard to the issues that we were highlighting. Now, I want to rope in Kezia once again and just to hear your opinion in regard to, issues of teenage pregnancies that have shocked, government as well as just the population at large during this time, of COVID-19, and how then can we ensure that our girls especially just stay away from such vices or such situations. Kezia?
Thank you very much. On pregnancies, I think it's a whole society responsibility. So it's the parents, it's the child's responsibility, and if it has happened already, it's time to set yourself for what has already happened. You see, with many things like corona or pregnancy or anything tough that you're facing, we really can't change it immediately. So we just need to brace ourselves to face exactly what is on the table. So when it comes to teenage pregnancies, I feel parents need to step up, mentors need to step up. We also as individuals, we need to step up. Every institution that deals with young people or women issues or raising men, I think we all need to step up and do better and reach more. The same thing as Timothy is saying, there's so many things that are happening but you're not aware of. So I feel institutions should come to the forefront of digital and speak to their people, because it's their time. It's the time for mentors, it's time for coaches, it's time for parents to step up and work with their kids and work with each other. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kezia Nyaga, who's a digital marketer and someone and a coach, a life mentor and coach there targeting the youth, saying that it's a collective initiative to ensure that our youth, approach life on the right path. It's the high time to step up and get counted and be a role model to that young adult. Thank you very much, Kezia Nyaga, for your time. Now, bringing up this Grace Masharia to just close up this conversation. She is a Form 4 student who wants to pursue civil engineering. Grace Masharia?
Yes. So I'll give my final comments. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I believe that this is a chance for, as Ruth Masharia said, for us to develop ourselves, not only in our studies, but also get to know who you are, get to know your parents, get to know how to live with people, because when you learn how to live with your siblings, then it's very easy for you to live with other people outside there. And also, you see, when you hear these things about teenage pregnancies, it's very painful when you hear your age mates are doing this. But one thing that I have learned is that it is about you, yes, about the society. But I bring out the fear of God. Fear God with your body. Don't get entangled with the wrong company. Make sure you are in the right place at the right time. And one thing is that when you are idle, then all these thoughts come to your mind. So get something to do. And as one of us said, read, pray, because our God is still on the throne. And I believe that this coronavirus will be over. But what will you come out of it with? What will you say that I did during this season? Because we are unique, actually. Like for us as a candidate, no other class has been given a whole year just to go through their life again and come back to school. We are unique, and take it positively, because the moment you become bitter, there is nothing you can do about it. Actually, you'll end up hurting yourself. So instead, build yourself. And because you love yourself, then take it positively. And I believe that we will overcome. And also pray for your government, because you are putting so much pressure on the government, but also let's pray for them that they shall have wisdom on what to do at this time. Yes, thank you.
I feel as if I should just say hallelujah. Word, girl. You just preached to the choir right here. I like your, your passion and all that you've said, and we need to put that into consideration, especially those teen girls who have found themselves in such a situation. They need to look to the future, because that has already happened. And I like that you've borrowed from what Kezia Nyaga has said, that, this is a time to offer encouragement to anyone who might find themselves in a precarious situation, to say the least, and just say, we live to fight another day. Yesterday was a bad day, but this is a new opportunity to be something else. Thank you very much, Grace Masharia. I wish that you actually live to see out your dream of being a civil engineer. I know taking up a class at Form 4 might not be as what you had planned, but let's go with what Kezia said. Age is nothing but a number. Thank you very much, each and every person who came on board this morning to discuss that particular issue, the changes in the school calendar. The parent, that is Ruth Macharia, who gave advice to all those, especially candidates both in class 8 and Form 4, saying, take this time to revise what you thought you did not have in hand at this time. Thank you very much, Kezia, for saying that mentors need to come up and set up and just focus on being that particular role model that you should. Thank you very much, everyone else. Timothy Ekesa, Charlene, who is traveling to Mombasa. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ruth Oguna. Thank you, Ariana. Thank you, Ruth Macharia, once again. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Francis. And thank you, Precious, as well as Wen Joroge and Spicy Wambui. It's been a pleasure to have you on board Good Morning Kenya as we talk about matters close to our hearts and is what is happening in the education sector. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant viewing ahead.
I'm the director of the DM Kenya. We established our company DM Kenya in September in 2017. That is last September. And now we have this nails printer that can print any design on your nails within 35 seconds. That is our main product for now. Kenya began last September, and we're trying to propose a lot of designs about the nails for Kenyan women, because I found that they don't really have a lot of choices for nails in this country. So, but this printer, if you have it, you can print any design. So that is why we are here. When I came to Kenya for the first time, a lot of people just talked to me because of my nails, because I had a design nails. So I found out, okay, Kenyan women really interested in beauty. That's the first finding. And then next time I came here, I visited a lot of salons to get my nails done. And now I found out we don't have a lot of choice. I don't have a lot of choices for the designs. So I found the gap that people want a lot of designs, but the fact is the situation is the manicurists, they don't have a lot of skills about the nails for the small patterns. So I wanted to fill in the gap, and this machinery, even though you don't have a really long training, or even though you don't have a lot of skills or experience, you can just print with your smartphone. So I think this is the solution for this country to fill in the gap. This one, if you have the smartphone or any of these devices, if you download the app, and this machinery has Wi-Fi itself, so you can just connect with Wi-Fi. So it works like Bluetooth, and we have app as well. So you choose design from the app, and you just print. Just press the button for the print, and this one is going to print. And there's a camera inside. So if you have big finger, you can adjust the size through this camera. So you have if you have the big finger, you can just adjust to as a big size, and if you have smaller one, you can adjust as a small size. So anyone can print. Every time we just go to the salon, and if they're interested in, we just do the demonstration for them. And right after we did the demonstration, 100% people say it's amazing. And this is a lot of, this is not time consuming, and this is the solution for to get the like specific design, because some people just try to do the design, but sometimes it's merged, sometimes it's it doesn't, they couldn't really do well. But this one is technology, so anyone can do the same print, same design, and also since this is only takes 35 seconds, it's not time consuming, so they finding this is a solution for their problems. You put your finger inside, yes, you can see, right? And you can just press down and choose a pattern. And just print. I did some research in Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, and we found Kenya and Ghana are the most potential. And especially in Kenya, here's the leading market in East Africa and Ghana, maybe Nigeria as well, but the Ghana itself also they have a really interested in beauty. So we want to start it with 2 branches, and after that we trying to expand it. So for me, I think I want to go to Tanzania, Uganda, and South Africa as well. And for the Ghana team, I want them to go to Nigeria and Algeria. Those are west north side as our plan. In Japan, we have a long history, and first I'm sure that first they just start with the simple nail, but people like the very unique styles. So we just improve ourselves for the skills as a human being, just to improve the skills for the small patterns. But after we find this machinery, we found it's easier. So a lot of salons now you start using this machinery. But for Kenya, I think a lot of people don't have like high skills for this drawing the picture. So this is their easiest solution to just buy it, and you can just use it from that day. I think the nail is very important, because even Japanese have the word of the nail, the beauty comes from hand. And the reason why is, even though I just read magazines, even just we type the laptop, even we just cook, every day, every second we see nails, we see hands. And if your hand is like pretty, I think it makes you feel very happy. And at the same time, if your nail is different from others, people talk to me, and I had that experience. So I think this is a start from the conversation, or start from the connection of the people. So I think the nail and hand is very important for women. Normally, people just do the base coat and color coat, and that's the same process. So we do the base and color, and we do additionally two steps. So nail mask and this PP is our technology just for this printer. Nail mask is the one to print your skin. So we put the nail mask for the edge of the nail, and you can peel it off later. And also, if you print without this PP, it's going to the ink is going to flip. So this is a special coat only for this printer. So additional 2 steps, and then after print, you just put the top coat. And so top coat, base color, and base coat, you can use your own product if you already have it. But for these two, you can buy from us. You can get from us, because this is must items for this printer. So this mixing pen can make any colors. So even though we have this pen itself, it has only 10 pens, and we can mix the colors, so you can create any colors you want. So I think normal salons have like basic colors, but sometimes customers want this specific color, and if the salon doesn't have it, we can just mix the color, because we have the app for this pen as well. And if you just choose from the app, and it shows that use this color, and we just mixture, and it's going to be that exact color. If you just use this pen, you can just mixture the color, and if you get that specific color, you can just use the base color, base coat, and then next one that specific color. So you can use as a base color, and then just use nail mask and this PP, and then print, and then top coat. That's it. We distribute in this machinery, but this machinery comes with all of this, so you can just start from your business on that day. Because maybe the salon already has the LED light, so they can use their LED light, and so it comes with all package. Now Ashley's have for 3 branches. They have it Westgate, Two Rivers Mall, and Lavington Mall. They already start using it, and one in Greenhouse Mall. It's called Peter Nail Spa, and Serenity. It's in Gigiri. They have 2 branches. They have 2 machineries. So around 15 machineries in the industry right now. Lack of the skills. I think that's the most challenging part, and we just brought this machinery because of to fill in the gap. So I think for now, that's the most biggest challenge in the nail industry right now. This machinery doesn't need a lot of skills. They just need how to maybe do the basic file, and we can just offer the training for free. So after you buying this machinery, and we offer the free training, and I think it takes around 3 hours. That is enough to use this machinery, and so we do the training as well. The main reason why I'm here is like I want to empower women, because here people like women has a lot of power and a lot of interest for the beauty, and I think this technology can change not only nails industry. I think they can change the beauty industry as well. So, and I want to empower women, and I want them to be happy, and at the same time I want to make profit for the hair salons too, because hair salon, and we believe that hair salon is a place to make the trend or boom, and so I think to have this machinery, to have this new technology and make experience for the customers is one of the good experience for the customers, and I think the hair salon has to do it, because one is to make a boom, and second to make experience for new experience for customers. I think that's the most important thing. Since this one invented in 2016, right now we haven't had any of the problem. So it's a durability at least 10 years. That's we just did a lot of tests and demonstration, and that's our result. At the same time, there is ink inside, and this ink can print 800 fingers. So after you finish the ink, you can just refill. You can get the refill from us. We made this magazine because a lot of people just since we have more than 800 patterns, people just use a lot of time to choose the one design. I thought it's easier to look at the magazines, and if you find any patterns you like, you can just choose. And if you just put this number in the app, you can just directly goes to that pattern. So I thought it's easier. That's why we made this magazine. At the same time, we are thinking to to propose a lot of new designs to nails industry. That's what we want to achieve. Any salons, they already have this machinery. They already have it. And if they're interested in nails art and if they want it, we can also distribute. So if you just contact us, we can just distribute. For now, we think that a lot of people have French nails and acrylic nails, and also I've heard that gel nails is quite new in this country. So now they are trying to find which one is the best for individual. So I think that we are still in the phase of what is good for by themselves. But at the same time, this printer can print any design you want. Even you can print your photo, because you can even choose the design from your photo stream. So you can print your boyfriend's photo, and for the wedding you can maybe print your husband's photo. You know, I think this is going to be the new trend for this country. We have the office in Mirage Towers in Westlands, and also we have Facebook page called dmm.bio, dmm.bio. So you can just contact from Facebook, or you can find our number from the Facebook, and also you can just visit us. And if they want to demonstration, we always go to their salons and do demonstration just for them. So any method is fine. This one I think they can charge extra money for the customers, because it's printed in design. So if you just start from nails machinery from now, I think it's better to have this machinery, and because you can charge more to the customers. We believe that this printed nails is going to be trend, because I find in Japan a lot of women just following the trend. If somebody says that red lips is trend, everyone do the red lips. And if somebody says French nails is in style now, just everybody's following. But I found in Kenya, you don't really have that big trend, and people are just trying to find their original way. And this one, since you can print any design, you can follow your original individual style. So that's why I believe that this is going to be the trend. This nails design just not only changes the nail industry, and I believe that this is going to be the change for the beauty industry. That's why I do this business. At the same time, when people just have, I'm sure that you already have the nails, and the people are really impressed after they print, and I love that to see those smile. So that's why I'm doing this business.
Hamjambo Wakenya wenzangu, mimi ni Mheshimiwa Mize. Ninalotaka kuambia ni kuwasihi ya kwamba korona iko, na ili tupigane nayo na tuishinde. Ukikohoa, tafadhali kama una ile ya kujifunika ile tissue, weka mkono hapa. Kama ni chafya yako atyo, na itabakia pale pale. Kama ni kukohoa yako, koholea hapo. Na nakwambia tukizingatia sheria na tuitii, hii korona tutaishinda na nchi yetu tutarudi kama kawaida.
Ni kawaida kuanza siku vikawaida, lakini pale ukawaida unapobadilika,
umma una hamu na ari ya kupokea mambo yasiyo ya kawaida kutoka rubaa za kimataifa.
Watu na maisha yao,
mazingira,
biashara na uchumi, michezo na taarifa zinazoboresha maisha.
Ndilo jukumu letu.
Ndio utamaduni wetu.
Ndio ukawaida wetu.
Dunia wiki hii kwa ushirikiano wa KBC na shirika la Shinua kutoka China inakuletea taarifa za kimataifa kwa ufasaha.
KBC, in collaboration with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, is broadcasting enhanced out-of-class learning on radio, television and online. Catch the lessons every weekday on KBC Channel 1 from 2 to 4 p.m, on KBC English Service and 15 FM from 9:15 a.m. to 5 p.m, and Radio Taifa from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. KBC English Service, Radio Taifa and 15 FM are also available countrywide on the free-to-air Signet digital TV platform, or log on to www.kbc.co.ke for live streaming, or download the KBC Online app on Google Play Store. Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, ensuring learning no matter what.